Welcome to Central Virginia. It is a festive atmosphere here today at Woodberry Forest. The tailgating, it's all setting up for the game on the field, and that would be the game, the 114th edition, as Woodberry Forest takes on their rival, the Episcopal Maroon. I'm Jeremy Huber, joined by Glenn Clark here high above the field at Woodberry Forest, waiting for an exceptional game to be played today, we think, as these two rivals get together. Glenn, I know this is your first appearance with this, mine as well. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's an incredible, incredible day, and you could just see it as we came in, Jeremy, that people very, very much anticipating this, and for as much as it means on the field, and let's not take away from the fact that there's going to be a very good football game played between very good teams on the field today, everything that surrounds it, as you mentioned, the atmosphere, what it means not just to these kids, and it means a ton to the kids, what it means to the coaches, what it means to everyone who has been connected to these two schools, the number of alumni that you see come back for this game. It's just a remarkable, remarkable day and a very neat thing to be a part of.
Of course, the history of this one, the 114th meeting, the rivalry started all the way back in 1901, actually more of a baseball rival to start things off. It's the South's oldest continuous high school rivalry. Some of the traditions, of course, both schools with a bonfire, Woodberry Forest, a senior goodbye, also a jersey day where they get to wear any jersey they want. Their favorite can even be a hockey jersey if they want to. Of course, a big pep rally as well. So you talk about tradition, that's what this game is about.
Yeah, it's really neat. We actually saw just near the stadium where the bonfire was set up early in the week. I mean, it's incredible, and it's not like your typical rivalry. These are kids that it's in their blood, it's in their family, it's the type of thing that gets passed down, what it means to someone before, and no matter what else you do this season, this is what you get remembered by, and you hear guys that played for very, very good teams on either side of the rivalry, guys that played for good Episcopal teams that lost to Woodberry Forest, guys that played for good Woodberry Forest teams that lost to Episcopal, and they just can't let it go no matter what their team accomplished. If you lose, especially as a senior, that game, it's something that sticks with you for a long time.
Of course, this game goes way back, actually a special treat for our viewers. If you didn't know, the Woodberry Forest fight song actually written by an interesting guy, a guy actually who had wrote the song Moon River, the famous song as well. He was a Woodberry Forest grad. It's kind of connected with this little piece of footage we got back from the 1940 edition of this very game.
Both teams lined up with determination to carry away the colors of the day. In any event, to play their best. And so the game went on. The tune that you now hear is that of the Woodberry song, Fight for the Orange and Black, written by Johnny Mercer, a Woodberry alumnus who is now a Hollywood celebrity. Final score, Woodberry 13, Episcopal nothing. Souvenir hunters swarmed the field to carry away trophies of a great day and of victory won.
Glenn, of course, a lot less buildings on the campus, but about the same. The series history in this one, Woodberry leading 57-48 with 8 ties. The last game was last year at about this time. Woodberry with the big blowout win against Episcopal. I think the Maroon looking to go ahead and change that around this time around.
Yeah, certainly. There's no doubt that it's the type of thing that, as you talk to everyone around the Episcopal program, they're aware of the advantages that Woodberry Forest has, size of the program, There is no JV program, say, at Episcopal. They still believe they're capable of competing with a program like Woodberry Forest, and it would mean a lot to them today in order to be able to turn that around.
A couple Tigers that have helped this win streak, currently at 6 and counting. Ed Reynolds, the second, the free safety, went to Stanford playing for the Eagles now. Also, Kendall Gaskins, running back for the University of Richmond, went on to play, still playing with the San Francisco 49ers. And anytime you're putting guys in the pros, it does a good thing for your program.
And certainly, and the same can be said about Episcopal. Tim Hightower, who played for the Arizona Cardinals just a few years ago by way of the University of Richmond, played at Episcopal. These are schools that have produced quality football players, and we don't want that to be lost in this broadcast. Look, you just need to be here in order to understand what the game means. The records could almost be thrown out. If these teams were, 2-6 coming in, it would still be this loud, this festive, this crazy. That's how much the game means. But there has been very, very good football, and these teams are both very good this season.
Look to our keys to the game for Episcopal in this one, Glenn.
Yeah, great effort on both sides of the ball, and that's the type of thing that you have to worry about a little bit in a rivalry game. You don't want to be too jacked up, a little bit too emotional. Controlling the line of scrimmage, head coach Pano Voulgaris told me a little bit earlier in this week. He said this is something that they have struggled with at times. Then they lost to Bullis. They were dominated a bit on the line of scrimmage, and the defenders must pursue and wrap up. And this is both in the run game and in the pass game. We're going to see Woodberry Forest use some short screen passes that way. You can't just get the man. You have to bring him down to stop the play. Those are the things that Episcopal is going to need to do today in order to beat Woodberry Forest.
Some players to watch for the Maroon of Episcopal, starting things off out at their wide receiver and defensive end, Mr. Phillips.
Yeah, absolutely. Timmy Phillips, who has played on both sides of the ball. He's a senior. He has 13 catches for 234 yards this season. He's actually also a lacrosse player, Jeremy. And not only is he a lacrosse player, he's a very good lacrosse player. He's committed to play at Notre Dame. Well, all they did was play for a national championship a year ago at Notre Dame. So he is a remarkable young athlete.
Of course, John Dixon, looking at another one of their wide receivers, a guy who's being recruited by some Ivy League schools, and really a guy to watch out for in this matchup. A lot of guys to watch out for this Episcopal team. Our next player to watch in this in the matchup today, as we go to the guy we were talking about earlier, Phillips, talk about at Notre Dame, another guy really, as you said, gets it done on both sides of the ball. Looking at some of his play at defensive end and at wide receiver, don't see that a lot.
Yeah, and it is a guy that you would think that the sides would be an issue in order to do something like that, but he's someone who can use his motor despite the fact that he's not necessarily as big as some of your typical defensive ends. He's got a high motor, is going to be able to get in and wreck some havoc as the game goes on.
And again, see the athleticism of guys who will be playing lacrosse for Notre Dame. You know he is a very, very good athlete.
No doubt.
Also, a player to watch in this one, Campbell Jackson, the guy really in the middle for this Episcopal team. He's a captain, a 3-year starter, 230, really can bring the wood when it comes to the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, top linebacker for this team and someone who's a leader in very many ways on the defense. I don't know that it's the reason why he wears it, but not odd that he wears number 52. Certainly a number the number of great linebackers throughout the history of football have worn. He's a player that's going to have to set the tone defensively for Episcopal against this Woodberry Forest attack.
Now switching over to Woodberry Forest, some keys to the game for the Tigers to get the win and complete an undefeated season.
Yeah, running the ball is going to be something they're going to have to do. The good news is it appears that they're going to be a little bit healthier, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But they need to establish the run early. They also need to be able to stop the run from Episcopal. And again, those are things that are easy for us to sit up here at the top and say it's going to happen on the field. They also need to limit the explosive plays. Episcopal's quarterback, Seth Aguanobi, we were looking at him right before the game. He is a very strong-armed young man. You see as a freshman, you think, well, he can't be that much of a downfield threat. That's not the case. He's got a very, very strong arm. You can't allow this team to get big chunks of yardage in the pass.
Now players to watch for Woodberry Forest. We start things off with Mr. Big Play, Nathaniel Tyrell, the guy who's been so explosive for the Tigers this season.
Yeah, but on both sides of the ball, 2 interceptions on the season and 2 rushing touchdowns. 5'9", 165-pound senior, 7 total TDs. He scored in all but one game this season. Remarkable player on both sides of the ball.
High School.
Another player to watch in this one, as we see with Tyrell. Now on the defensive side, it's Duke Sherrill. They're a big middle, they're diminutive but tough middle linebacker.
Yeah, we were just talking about Campbell Jackson a second ago. Duke Sherrill, 5'7", 194. He has 2 sacks from his middle linebacker position this season. He has been very much the tone setter. 88 tackles, 12 tackles for a loss, and as their coaching staff told us, no one watches more film and is better prepared for a game than Duke Sherrill is.
Of course, our last player to watch for Woodberry Forest, it's their quarterback, Christian Zayton, that played all year long, played in every game, but got the starting job when Lindell Stone went down with a collarbone injury, and he's just kept that train rolling along.
Yeah, 6 touchdown passes, just 1 interception, as well as a rushing touchdown as well for the 6', 187-pound senior quarterback. And you're right, put in a position in the later stage of the season, not that he wasn't ready to be in, but put in a position where it sort of all comes to him to handle this offense, and he's done a very good job.
Of course, we ended up having a chance to chat with both coaches before the game. Start things off with Episcopal, their head coach, Penna Vargulis, who caught up with our Monica Moore.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm standing here with Episcopal head coach Pano Voulgaris. Coach, it does not get bigger than this for your school, for Woodberry Forest. This rivalry matchup goes back so many years. The alumni care so much about this game. Can you talk about the emotions going into it and what it means to your team?
Well, it means a lot to a lot of people, and that's what our team really recognizes. We got alumni coming from all corners of the country, former faculty members, parents who make every effort to get here from all corners. So it means a lot to the kids and to our whole community. It's not just a football game. It represents everything that's great about our two schools. So it really means a lot to all of us.
Your sophomore quarterback, Seth Aguanobi, getting the start today for you all has been very solid all season long. Can you talk about what you expect to see out of him today?
Well, Seth is actually a freshman, so there's a lot of pressure on him, but he handles it pretty well. He's a pretty calm kid and pretty mature for a kid who's in the 9th grade. So I think that he's going to do everything he can to stave off the pressure that Woodberry puts on quarterbacks. So they're very good. They got a lot of talent over there. We know that their school is over 400 boys and more than twice as many as ours. So we have to bring our A game, and Seth is going to have to really do his job. And I have a lot of confidence in him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting the nod as a 9th grader.
Thank you, guys, and they're getting ready to see the entrance of the Woodberry Forest football team, as we already seen Episcopal. Let's go ahead and throw it to Clint Alexander, who caught up with our Monica Moore before the game.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm standing here with Woodberry Forest head coach Clint Alexander. Coach, today you play Episcopal. For anyone who's familiar with the programs, it's known as the game, really the pinnacle of the season. Can you talk about the emotions coming into this and the rivalry between these two teams?
Well, it's a great tradition. It's exciting. It's great to be a part of. We're practicing this week, and I just remind the boys, if you don't think it's a big game, why are they building a stadium around us? We've had a great week of practice. We're really excited. It's fun to see all the old players come back and the alumni. So I think we treat it like a bowl game. It's really, the season ended last week, and this is our bowl.
Well, and speaking of last week, you beat Fork Union, capped off a great season so far. Can you talk about that contest, the takeaways from it, and from the season so far?
Well, our offense has really been playing well. The last time you saw us, of course, Linda got hurt and Christian went in. Since then, he's thrown 5 touchdown passes, no turnovers. He was 11 for 13 in his first start after that happened. So the offense is really clicking, defense playing well. If we can put it all together today, we'll be lucky.
And you talked earlier about the alumni that come back for this event. Last weekend you got to go and see some of the former players from this school play in the Notre Dame Navy game. Can you talk about that experience and what it's like to see those athletes achieve at that level?
I still really don't believe it happened. We had 3 kids on the field. They all played. Doug played special teams, Doug Randolph. Of course, Greer had his first start and was a leading tackler at linebacker, and CJ got the first touchdown. And sitting there watching that was just surreal. And being with their parents, we're right in the parents section. It was so much fun. And Navy's such a great team. We were right next to the cadets. It was such a great atmosphere. But I was a proud papa.
Well, best of luck today, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, Clint. Of course, this matchup got its own tradition, like Coach was talking about with that Navy-Notre Dame game. Of course, some guys to injuries are going to play a factor in this game. A few key guys hurt for Episcopal, also for Woodberry Forest. This is Lindell Stone earlier in the season. The sophomore quarterback got hurt on that play there. It broke his collarbones, been out since, and Christian Zayton's had to come in and filled in admirably for him. We see that. There's Lindell Stone on your right, still in that sling, while Harold Miner, who's been dealing with the ankle injury, he's actually back and ready to play today.
Yeah, AJ Miner, as you mentioned here, but what a season he's had. Back ready to go, should be leading the attack on the ground, although they have multiple capable running backs. The Tigers do. Harold Minor with a couple of touchdowns already on the season. It'll be good for Coach Alexander to have him back on the field today.
And you see the Tigers coming down the field as they were introduced as well. Both teams almost a little pregame skit beforehand.
Yeah.
As you saw, both teams kind of one, I think, ran the Tiger out and carried him aloft. Another one as the Woodberry did something different. I think he tackled an Episcopal kid, or a quote-unquote Episcopal kid.
Someone who was dressed up as an Episcopal kid. It's a remarkable scene unfolding as you see here on the video screen. Just the number of kids that are involved with it, sort of the organized chaos of all of it. And you can see the brotherhood that these kids at Woodberry Forest have, not just the football players, but everyone involved with the school, and you can see how much it means to them. Trying to organize something like this, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but where I went to high school, this would have never happened. We would have never been able to put this type of production together, but it was really, really cool to see what it is that the young men here at Woodberry Forest were doing before the game.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit before the game. I actually got to play in a rivalry like this. I played at Hamden-Sydney School just down the road. Our traditional rival, Randolph-Macon, over 100 years there. And you see a lot of the same type of similar aspects in the sense that a lot of the pregame kind of ceremony, things like that. And then, of course, all the alumni. We saw so many alumni coming in today with tailgates and just people so proud and ready to root on their team.
And I'll tell you this, I don't know where all these people are going to go. I mean, this place is absolutely packed. There is no... we're looking in front of us at some of the stands. There is absolutely no room to fit more people here today. It is an incredible, incredible atmosphere in the stands as we are getting ready to get underway.
Looks like we have a few more in the corners. We may have some room.
Oh, we can squeeze a couple down in there. All right.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll turn over to our public address announcer today, Fred Jordan, with the pregame ceremonies.
Episcopal High School Maroon and the Woodberry Forest Tigers. Members of the Virginia Independent Schools Athletic Association, the Virginia Prep League, the Interstate Athletic Conference, and the Independent School League all abide by high standards of conduct, competition, and relations between schools. The athletes in this game are friendly rivals, as are the fans. While play may be fierce, all in attendance today are reminded that this is a game and that a high standard of good sportsmanship has prevailed in this historic rivalry for over a century. The officials assigned to this game have been selected and assigned according to the procedures adopted by the Virginia Independent Schools Athletic Association. We welcome Mr. Gene Siciliano and his officiating crew to the field today. And now, please rise as we honor America with the national anthem performed by the combined singers of the Episcopal High School Chamber Singers, Brandon Straub, conductor, and the Woodberry Forest Dozen, conducted by Wallace Hornady.
And you hear the roar. There's going to be a few more of those today, you'd have to think. And, Glenn, that might be the last unified moment we see in the game.
Yeah, kind of neat that they have the kids from both schools there involved with the anthem. But you're right. Now it's absolutely it's on between these two teams, and you know how much each one wants a victory against the other program.
Tell you, we look at this game, and again, we're just blown away by the pageantry of this and the guys, and they're ready to get out here, and how just psyched up everyone is for this game. We've got a whole crew of folks, the students standing in front of everybody else. I think it's going to make everybody else in the stands stand up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they wanted to do, but it looks like what they're going to have to do.
Yeah, they'll be joining us in that way. And I'll tell you, Jeremy, we were told about it all throughout the week. You mentioned my first time being a part of this game for sure, and I was told throughout the week, it's something that you got to see to be able to understand. Boy, getting here, it's even more. As prepared as I was for it throughout the week, it's even more incredible than that. I mean, it's just such a remarkable. I have been to high-level college basketball games that did not have the atmosphere that this game has right now. It's an incredible, incredible scene that's playing out before us.
Look at the common opponents as you see the coin toss about to be conducted here. Two of them, Flint Hill and Collegiate, both wins for both squads against those two opponents, and pretty much the same scores, though Episcopal a little bit more over Collegiate.
Yeah, I mean, that's other than that, almost the exact same, and that's to be expected. These are two good teams that are on the field today, and it gets lost a little bit because of everything that surrounds this game and what it means, and you think about the men that have come from these programs, but there's no doubt there is good football set to be played, and kids that are going to be playing at high levels. You mentioned a couple of the kids that have been recruited and pursued on the Episcopal side. One of the things that their coach, Pano Voulgaris, told me was that almost all of his team has gotten a letter from an Ivy League school. That's remarkable to think about. Ivy League programs, that's good football. That's Division I football that they're playing in the Ivy League. Certainly Woodberry Forest has produced a number of those types of players as well.
So you see there, Woodberry Forest won the toss, but will defer to the second half. So the Tigers will start things off on defense, and we are almost ready, and both teams headed out to the middle of the field. And I tell you, wow, you could cut the anticipation with a knife for this one.
No doubt about it. It's an interesting strategy, by the way, to defer. It's the type of thing that shows one of two things. Either the confidence that you have in your defense to start the game and wanting to try to steal an extra possession in the second half, or you're trying to use it to build confidence in your defense. Often a strategy that coaches use. Sometimes the defense has struggled a bit. Not that Woodberry Forest defense has struggled much at all, but you use it to build strategy. I'll assume the decision was made because they have so much confidence in their defense. You want to try to get that one extra second half possession. That
gritty little Tigers defense, not big at all up front, but they have been effective. Yeah. The last game we did here against Benedictine, a 10-0 shutout, as that one was just a defensive performance by the Tigers.
Yeah, front seven that does not have much of anything as far as guys over 200 pounds. These are undersized guys up front, but they've gotten the job done.
Weather report today, it's sunny and 52. It doesn't feel like that. We're in the shade right now. The wind will play a factor, and probably when the sun goes down, it'll get a little bit colder.
Yeah, look, the wind on the field, you and I both went down to the field before the game. It felt more significant than 9 miles per hour while we're down there. Now, as you saw in the graphic, the gusts are up to 16 miles an hour. There was some impact on the kicks. However, at least on the Woodberry Forest side, they were making kicks from about 30 or so yards out. Their kicker consistently, Liam Hedge, making them in warm-ups.
Hedge to kick it off back deep. It's John Dixon, joined by Brian Chase, and we are almost underway in the 114th edition of the game here at Woodberry Forest. Here's the approach, and we are underway. Great kick by Chase. By Hedge, going to chase. He's going to go over his head and into the end zone for the touchback. So Episcopal will start off with their 20.
Easy for you to say. For Episcopal, everything starts with their quarterback, the freshman Seth Aguanobi. Again, you'd be surprised to see just how strong this young man. And he's got a 6'1" frame. He's certainly not undersized, despite not being particularly old.
Aguanobi will start off in the shotgun with Smith beside him. He has three wide receivers to his right, tight end Lindemann to his left. Fakes the handoff, looking over the middle, looking for the bomb, and it's going to be picked off!
That didn't take long.
Picked off by Nathaniel Tyrell. Who else? Another turnover, and I tell you, this place is about to pop, Glenn.
No doubt. Third interception of the season for Tyrell. It wasn't as if it was a poor decision. He had time to make the throw. He just didn't get enough air under the ball. As you saw, he had his man. He had a receiver downfield. It was Brian Chase that he was looking for. He just didn't quite get enough on that throw. It would be interesting to see if perhaps the wind affected in any way. A really interesting decision to go with a deep ball early in the game. If it works, it's brilliant. If something like that happens, all of a sudden you put your team in a really difficult position as Woodberry Forest takes over already on the Episcopal side of the field.
Interesting to test out Nathaniel Tyrell, who's going to line up in the backfield alongside Evans Revere. Of course, Christian Zayton, the quarterback, has 2 wide receivers, one going in motion. He'll go ahead and hand it off. Tyrell looking for the outside. Going to bounce off one tackler, then be brought down by the second.
Yeah.
And Renee will bring him down after a gain of 4.
That's a very nice tackle, by the way. That was one of the things that Coach Volgaris was talking about before the game. You've got to get to the man and finish him off. There was room to work with going to the left on that play, but it was closed out very quickly.
Duke Sherrill started out there at wide receiver. He comes off, so maybe giving him a both ways start as the senior going out. Zayton in the shotgun has receivers 2 each way. A little bit of motion up front. Now the hand off to Minor will be brought down after a minimal gain.
There's Campbell Jackson on the tackle from behind. Not much doing there. It was a play that looked good on the draw, but it was closed on very quickly with Campbell Jackson making the tackle. As you see there on the replay, Campbell Jackson, the initial pursuit, saw the man, got him to the ground.
Man coming in motion. That's Shea. Zayton looking to throw. Out in the flat, going to be complete and brought down after the completion. Roderick will have first down yards in the gain of 10.
Yeah, and that's just a really nice route run there. And Renee was over there in coverage, but that's just a really crisp route that was run and a very nice throw. That's a perfect 3rd down play. You got that in your bag. You use it as much as you can on 3rd down.
Looking at the replay, it looked like Renee just slipped a little bit on this artificial turf surface. Ingram goes in motion. He'll block as they give it to Minor up the middle, and he'll lunge forward for a gain of 2.
Yeah, and that was nothing much doing there. Taj Gooden on the tackle for the Maroon. Got him by the feet. If he had gotten out of that, they might have had a couple of yards ahead, but a nice sound job done by Taj Jackson to bring him down. Taj Gooden, sorry.
You hear the chanting crowd from Woodberry Forest yelling at their counterparts from Episcopal. So a 2nd and 9, we'll call it. Zayton in the shotgun, as usual, hands it off to Minor, running to his right. He's got some room. He'll be hit and brought down at the 30-yard line, gain of 4.
And a group of guys in on that tackle, including Campbell Jackson. It'll be interesting to see who gets credited with it. There is a little bit more room to work with if he had continued to go to his right. If he had maybe been able to get that towards the sideline, could have been a bigger play. As you see here on the replay, I'm assuming they'll give that one to Jackson because he made the first contact that appeared to bring him down.
Big Clark Yarbrough on that play. Now out in the flat, looking for Revere. That's incomplete. So bring decision time for Clint Alexander.
Yeah, just not really a good opportunity for a play to be made there. It would have been a really difficult catch and probably would have been a bit short of the first down marker anyway. And so at 4th and long, as you see here on the replay, yeah, I don't think he would have quite gotten there even if he had made the catch.
So Hedge is going to come on to punt. Going back deep will be Sutherland.
A team that doesn't throw the ball downfield quite so much, you understand the decision here.
Hedge going to take his time. Episcopal going punt safe. It's a high kick. This is going to go into the end zone, and he'll start on the 20 for Episcopal.
Ended up going through the end zone. Yeah, that's the type of thing where it's a shame. You get the ball at the 46-yard line of Episcopal. You'd like to think that you can really change the momentum there. It's a shame, especially off the punt, that you weren't able to pin them in deep, maybe inside their own 10-yard line, and start trying to win that field position battle. But ultimately, you don't want to do something there that's going to give momentum back to Episcopal. It's only a 10-yard trade-off in field position, but still probably the right decision to be made.
So after throwing an interception on his first pass of the game, Agwanobi, now a whistle will come down. Looks like some illegal motion.
Yeah.
False start, and we saw when we're going through, Chase kind of put his hands on his head like, come on, guys, stop shooting ourselves in the foot.
And you can understand the emotion. You can understand coming out for something like this, especially if you want to consider the fact that Woodberry Forest is unbeaten. You know what you're up against, not just what the game means, but the opponent.
Agwanobi hands off to Smith. He'll look to bounce it. He'll be brought down after getting back to the original sticks.
Yeah, mess of tacklers in there, but that's a good first down. When you're facing 1st and 15, that's a good play to get some of that yardage back and try to give yourself back the entire offense.
So they'll say just across the sticks as we look at the replay here. So it'll set up a 2nd And 9 will call it. Aguinobi back to pass. The freshman looks to evade the pressure. He's going to shake off one tackler out in the secondary. Going to have first down yardage all the way out across the 40.
I have no idea how he found the space to get through that. There was an absolute mess of players from both teams right in front of him. Aguinobi just dodging on his way downfield for a pickup of what ends up being over 20 yards.
Duke Sherrill.
Aguinobi getting through that original line. As looked like Woodberry is going to bring him down for a sack. Instead he escapes. Now he hands off to Smith. He'll break a couple tackles and take it out for a 5-yard gain.
Just keeping his legs churning on that play. There was nothing there at the line of scrimmage, but yet somehow he ends up with 5 yards.
Second down.
2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, a tight end as well. Chase goes in motion. Aguinobi hands off to Smith, who's got some running room, and he'll have first down yardage after a gain of 6.
The hurry-up offense working very effectively for Episcopal right now, keeping the Tigers defenders on their toes. It's one thing you can do when you face a team that has more bodies than you do. Don't allow them to make substitutions. Just keep shoving the ball right down their throats.
And Episcopal has used that hurry up this year to really wear teams down in the second half. We'll see if they can do it today. Aguinobi back to throw, looking deep down the sideline. That one's going to be incomplete. Was looking for Dixon. No penalty flags. A little bit of hand contact, but they let it go.
Yeah, and it was Kellerman in coverage, and it looked like just checking to me. I don't know that anybody established an advantage whatsoever. I don't think that was a ball that would have been completed. It appeared as though it sailed over towards the sidelines. See here on the replay. And this actually goes a couple plays back to Aguinobi's big run, the biggest play of the drive thus far.
Aguinobi getting his team across the 50 for the first time. Smith on that little counter draw, looking to bounce it to the outside, and eventually he's going to be taken down by Stevenson, gets him around the ankles.
Yeah, I mean, it was just patience there. He kept trying to go to his left. He wanted to cut up, but the space continued to go to the left. Ultimately, it was only about 2 yards on the pickup.
Just under 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter. No score between Episcopal and Woodberry, the 114th playing of the game. 3 wide receivers to the right for Aguinobi. He's got the tight end Lindemann to his left. Back to pass. Woodberry bringing pressure. Going to be hit. Ball's loose as it was knocked away by Tyrell looking for Chase, and Aguinobi took a tough shot low.
On a 3rd and 8 play, Tyrell able to sit in and wait for that one, and when you throw in his direction, he is going to be there to make the play. As you see here on the replay, he just closed on that one very quickly and knocked it away to thwart what had been an otherwise very promising Episcopal drive.
I tell you, Ryan Grady may have gotten away with one. I think he got him right on the 5, but you almost saw Aguinobi's leg bend away you don't want to see it bend.
Certainly concerning. Henry Hay is the backup.
Fortson the punter, he's on, looking to pin Woodberry inside the 20. Going to let it bounce and takes a sideways bounce, and the Maroon hop on at about the 19-yard line.
And bounce the benefit of Woodberry Forest, and they'll take over right around their 20-yard line for their second drive of the game. Be interesting to see if they mix in the pass a little bit earlier in downs. They only went to the pass on 3rd down on their first drive. Be interesting to see if they go to it a little bit earlier in drive progression here on their second possession of the game.
You see Nathaniel Tyrell with another big play. Again, he's their playmaker on the defensive side of things, really special teams as well.
He's a playmaker all over the field, certainly capable of doing everything, and he has been a touchdown machine, 7 touchdowns on the season.
Zayton switches the formation. He'll run Revere from the left to the right, and they will hand it off up the middle to Evans, and he's going to be brought down after a minimal gain.
And here's a surprise. Campbell Jackson was in on that tackle. That's all he does is just get in on the ball and make plays, and once again, he was right there to find the running back.
Let's go ahead and throw it down to our Monica Moore.
Before the game, I talked with Clint Alexander, the head coach of Woodberry Forest, about 2 players that have to have big games today for his team to get the victory. And without hesitation, he told me Cole Martini and Brady Logan, both members of the offensive line, both are members of the leadership committee. And this offense has had a lot of success this year. And those 2 young men are a big reason why. And with both of them being seniors, you know they want to go out on top with another win over Episcopal.
Thanks, Monica. Now a 3rd and 3 for Woodberry Forest.
Like the decision to throw on 2nd down, by the way, Jeremy.
Need to take it to the 29. Quick out pattern's going to be caught, and a big yardage there as Roderick trying to take it down the sideline, spins back inside. Oh, more than enough for the first down. as he takes it almost out to the 50.
It was Mason Spence who eventually got over there to make the play. But that's all set up by the decision to throw on second down. They'd only thrown on third down on the first drive. As we mentioned, they go to it a little bit earlier. They get themselves in a third and short, and they're able to do more with their offense. See on the replay, that's just a bad job of trying to bring the man down. It would have been a first down either way, but instead of having them back near the 35, the ball is up near midfield.
Those big chunk plays, trying to limit those for Woodberry Forest. Fake the handoff, quick screen out to Roderick, tries to cut around the man, and this time Renee with a good job to bring him down for a minimal gain.
Yeah, and this is something that we've seen from Woodberry Forest, these short passes. It's a smart offensive decision to try to use it effectively, set up the screens, take the yards that Episcopal will give you.
2nd and 9, we'll call it. Need to take it down around the 42 for a first down. It's in between the 42 and 43. 5:29 and rolling here in the first quarter. Zayton looking for the slant. This one's going to be incomplete, looking for the freshman Khalid Thomas. Had the step, just couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, that's just got to hold on to the ball. Nothing else to say about that play. And he's a young man, and that'll come. You can see the athleticism. He did a great job of getting open. He ran the route perfectly. He just couldn't haul the ball in.
Interesting story with Khalid Thomas. A flag down. This is going to go ahead and move things back. Be a 5-yard penalty, so would have been that way anyway. Now they're going to say farther back than that. They're going to say a 10-yard penalty, so holding, I believe, was the call.
Okay, it wouldn't have mattered. It was Rodney Mitchell who was on the coverage, and he was there, but it wouldn't have mattered, but that's a ball you got to catch. That's something that you're going to be thinking about for a while.
So that's going to move things back for Woodberry. They're now scrimmaging from their own 36. Need to take it to the Episcopal 42 for a first down. Man in motion, fake the handoff, a little pitch underneath. Going back and forth, not much there for Ingram as he's brought down for a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, Colin Dixon in on the tackle there, and that's a play that looked really cool. It just didn't really turn into much of anything. You're trying in a 3rd and 22 situation to get yards, make it manageable here on the replay. Again, it's a really neat-looking formation. There just wasn't anything on the play. Instead, you're facing 3rd and 20. I don't think that Woodberry Forest has a 3rd and 20 play that they go to with regularity.
Minor into the game. He'll be the deep back in the pistol. Zayton is your quarterback again. Looking deep. Going down the sidelines, looking for Ingram. Ingram's going to make the catch at the 30-yard line, and a huge play. They don't have a 3rd and 20. I guess they do.
Shows what Glenn Clark knows, no doubt. Mitchell in coverage once again. That time he was just flat out beat, couldn't find the ball. That's a tremendous throw and catch, plain and simple. There's nothing else to be said on that. And the guts to go for it in that situation instead of simply running a draw play, setting up a punt, trying to put yourself in a better situation. The guts to chuck that ball downfield shows the trust that you have in your wide receiver and your young quarterback.
Fantastic over-the-shoulder catch, and Zayton's got him moving at the 30-yard line. They'll hand off to Hearn King trying to get around the side, and he runs into his own man, and a penalty will come on top of it.
Ooh, didn't like the way that hit did not look good. Jalen Bird on the tackle, but it wasn't the first contact that was the problem. It appeared as though he ran into his own man, and that was the issue.
And that man, I believe, was Clark Yarborough, as they're going to go ahead and call a hold here. So likely Episcopal is going to take that. But Clark Yarborough, 6'6", 272. That's literally like running into a brick wall.
Yeah, that's a big man to run into. One of the issues on these longer running plays, it does give your offensive lineman a bit of a task, and that does lead to more holding calls. That's the longer that you have to solidify that block, and it's difficult to do sometimes without grabbing.
So Tigers away from the play from the sidelines. They do not huddle. Both these teams are up-tempo type teams, especially no huddle. So now Revere back in the game. He and Minor are kind of switching off pretty liberally early on. Minor dealing with that ankle injury. They'll hand off to Shea, trying to get around the corner on the flanker sweep. Can he stay in bounds? He cannot, and he will be a gain of about 3 on the play.
Rodney Mitchell perhaps making up for his miscue in coverage by getting that first contact. He didn't finish him off, but by making the contact, he was able to keep him from turning the corner and getting more yards downfield.
Just strung that one out. So ball sitting at the 38-yard line right now. They need to take it all the way down to the 20, so need 18 yards. Another big play the Tigers need to keep the chains moving. Zayton looking to set up the screen. This one is going to be complete, but brought down after a minimal gain. Roderick going to have about 3 yards.
It was Joe Goff who made the tackle Timmy Phillips had the first look at him but couldn't bring him down. However, fortunately for Episcopal, second man, very sure-handed, makes the tackle and sets up another 3rd and long situation.
Looking at the team scoring average, both these teams put up points, and a lot of them coming in the second quarter for Woodberry after a little chance to make adjustments, it seems.
And oddly enough, Episcopal more of a second-half team, which is a little bit odd for an up-tempo team to be better in the second half. You would think the legs would wear down a bit as the game goes on. They've done a good job of continuing to put points on the board throughout the second half.
Well, I know as Coach Vergulis told you, and I think he told me earlier in the year as a timeout's going to be called, he feels his team's as conditioned as anybody, so he feels if it's a conditioning game, we're going to win it.
Yeah, run all day, absolutely. They'll be willing to go for a track meet with their opponents. Now, again, when you're facing a team like Woodberry Forest and the sheer number of players that they have, the number of bodies at their disposal, I don't know necessarily that that's the type of game that you want to be involved with for 4 quarters.
Interesting to see how things go. Here's a replay of that pass. Zayton again just dropping it in the bucket as he got it out to Ingram with that fantastic catch.
And Ingram doing a nice job. The ball a little bit underthrown. It's easy for us to say up here, that's an impossible throw to make in that situation. A little bit underthrown, but he was able to adjust his body going backwards to haul it in over the shoulder. That was just a tremendous play.
And you see that wind whipping, so that's got to be playing a little bit of havoc on both of these teams. And interestingly, Glenn, we look at one set of goalposts, it looks like it's going one way, the other set, so maybe we got a swirling wind going here.
There certainly have been some wild gusts, and that can play a role on balls like that, where the throw was a beautiful throw. It just was a little bit behind the receiver. Just a great adjustment by Ingram.
Zayton brings Tyrell in motion. Now he's going to go deep, looking for that flag route, and it's incomplete as he was looking for Roderick.
Yeah, he had Roderick, too, going towards the corner, going towards the front corner of the end zone. Roderick just, couldn't find the ball to start with. By the time he was able to locate the ball, he was unable to make a play on it, and that'll bring up a 4th down in a likely punt situation.
And they punted from closer in last time as we see the replay here, and looked like he had a step for sure.
There was pressure. He had 2-man barreling in on him. I don't think he would have wanted to hold it much longer than that anyway before letting the ball go. It was a nice throw. He just couldn't find the ball.
Low snap to Hedge. He's going to have plenty of time to get it away. Looking for the coffin corner. It's going to roll and be down inside the 5-yard line. Getting down on special teams, it's number 27, Jalen Madden.
That's just perfect. Jalen Madden gets his head around as the ball's coming down. You got to notice that as you're approaching the goal line. You've got to be aware of exactly where the ball is. And for a second, you worried that it was either going to hit off of him before he got there or he was going to miss it. The ball's going to the end zone. But turns around, and by the time he turns around, the ball is waiting for him. That's just a perfectly executed coverage play.
Let's see if this changes how Episcopal attacks things. They're on their own 2-yard line, 1st and 10. The freshman in the shotgun, Aguinobi, going to hand it off. Hit and brought down after a minimal gain is Smith.
Boy, this is a situation where Woodberry Forest could make an emphatic statement if they could come away with the safety here, and that was dangerous. Right on the goal line was where the contact was made. He rolled back out, but this is a really, really difficult spot.
It's a little bit of a power shotgun here. They'll hand it off to Smith again. A little more room to maneuver, but he'll be brought down at the 5, getting a big arm in that time, Hunter Young.
The important thing there is getting out of the shadow of your own end zone, and this will allow you, if you want, to throw the ball on 3rd down, but that's a very tricky play to call in a 3rd and 7 situation from your own 5-yard line.
Hunter Young, only a freshman out of Dallas, Texas, goes just 5'10", 206, but he's more than held his own for the Tigers this season. 3rd, and we'll call it 7. Aguinobi takes the shotgun snap. He's looking to pass. Now he's going to look to scramble. Can he get 1st down yardage? He's going to be upended, and he will have a 1st down all the way out to the 15-yard line.
I have absolutely no idea where he's finding that room to run. Mendocino is in on the tackle, but there was nothing there. That was a quick decision that was made in order to run the ball, and somehow just makes his way through 3 or 4 Woodberry Forest tacklers to pick up the 1st down.
This time, handoff to Smith. He'll be brought down, and a flag is going to come in, and that should be holding on the Maroon.
Assume so would back them up again. That's twice now that Aguinobi has run the ball, and it will be interesting to see how much they look to continue to use his legs as the game goes on.
And it will be holding, so they'll pull them back. And back to that previous play, Glenn, you talked about it. It was interesting because it looked like it was pass all the way, but then we saw Smith, the back, actually throw a block for him, seemingly before a person who didn't know it was a run would be ready to block.
It's a great point, and at that point you just say, I'm going to turn the ball up and go. And This is one of those, it's a lot to trust a freshman quarterback to make those types of decisions. Clearly, Episcopal willing to do it.
Half the distance penalty, so now Aguanobi looking to run to the outside, still spinning, and he'll be brought down after a decent gain.
Yeah, it looks like about 6 yards or so should get them back. I guess more than that is it'll get them back to at least where they were after picking up the first down. That's just a good job of patiently waiting. A nice spin, 2 nice spins on that run as you saw in the replay.
1:13 and rolling here in the first quarter. No score between Episcopal and Woodberry Forest. Brought down and Smith, a gain across the 20-yard line as he'll take it down to around the 22.
Mendocino got a lick on Aguanobi on that play. Aguanobi didn't appear to like it, sort of went over to the official, but in a late handoff like that, I don't think that deserved a flag necessarily.
So a third, and we'll call this one 2. Need to get it just across the 25-yard line for a first down. Man in motion, that's Chase. They'll hand off Smith, looking to get to the outside. Can he get there? He's being strung out. He's got nothing. Another stand by Woodberry Forest.
You have to turn up at some point, and it just was never, ever there. And that's a really, really good third down play. The pursuit there the entire time to prevent him from being able to turn the corner.
And credit the defensive end kind of keeping this, stringing it out, and eventually coming from his inside. Duke Sherrill, the guy we had as our player to watch.
Yeah, by the time he got there were 5 Woodberry Forest defenders waiting for him. There was no magic to be had, no amount of spin moves. No matter how many buttons you hit on your Madden controller, you're not turning that into a first down.
Fortson to kick, high kick, 2 men back. It's Tyrell, joined by Roderick, who'll call for the fair catch just outside his own 45.
And that'll be how the first quarter comes to a close. And a fast-moving, high-paced first quarter of action between these two teams. You can see the emotions on display in this one, how much it means to both programs. An entertaining first quarter, no doubt.
Most definitely. No scoring, but a lot of high-level play so far in the matchup. And it'll be interesting to see as we kind of go back and forth, will there be a momentum play that swings things? It looks like early on, obviously it's been more of a team playmaker thing for Woodberry Forest, but for Maroon, it's been Aguanobi.
Well, and it's a great point that you make. Woodberry Forest has had a couple of opportunities to turn one big play into something that really changes the game. Whether it was the interception on the first play from scrimmage from Episcopal, where they took the ball over at the 46-yard line, a great play made by Tyrell, or whether it was the big third down conversion on their second possession of the first quarter. Either one of those plays you would think would be the type of play that could really turn things around. Both teams have done a good job when the opposing team has made a big play. You mentioned the big Aguanobi run, that they have settled down after that and not allowed it to change the complexion of this game.
I don't know if I wanted to broadcast from that spot where all the students are standing up.
They are rowdy.
There.
It's a few of them had gone shirtless to start the game. Yeah, they put their jackets on at this point. So at least they're smart kids.
They are. You got to be going to Woodberry Forest.
Kids.
Referee will blow it in for play. 1st and 10 for Woodberry Forest at their own 47-yard line. 4 wide receivers for Zayton. He'll hand off to Minor. Poking his way over the right side. He'll be hit and stopped after a gain of 2, 1.5.
Not nothing much there, but something that won't be noticed by many. Zayton continued to fake a run on that play. That's really important. If you want to get the defense to buy into the idea that you might hold on to the ball and take it yourself, you need to really sell that. He did a nice job on that play of continuing to sell the run to his left.
They'll credit him with 2 out to the 49-yard line. And even though Woodberry they're going without a huddle, but they're not going hurry up necessarily. And Lindell Stone, the injured quarterback, looks like he's in on play calling duties, at least maybe helping signal them in.
Maybe calling the dummy plays, perhaps.
Man in motion, they'll go ahead and hand it off. Ingram looking for some room, and he has none, gets a minimal gain.
Eli Blair May, as well as Colin Dixon, over there to make that play. Again, just a nice job of being patient, of not over pursuit, waiting and bringing the man down.
That's going to set up Woodberry with what we'll call a 3rd and 7 here. Need to take it down to the 43 of Episcopal for a first down.
They've already converted a couple of big third downs in the first half. They certainly have the pass plays to go to convert this.
4-man front for Episcopal. Now Zayton going to switch things around. Moved Evans Revere for a second, then he comes back. Zayton looking to throw, a lot of pressure coming his way, throw the out route. That's going to be incomplete, could have been picked off, and a lot of pressure from the youngster Colin Dixon.
Oh boy, did he take a lick on that play. Had to get rid of the ball when he did, despite the fact there wasn't anything to throw to, and he was really hit hard for his troubles there, as you see on the replay. That was a hard hit. A nice job by Dixon.
Dixon, just a sophomore, really filling in for Matt Renault, their defensive end, injured out for this game. So Dixon getting the playing time and making things happen. This punt going to be fair caught. Dixon going to try to do it, and he will. Kind of got him at the last second, went over his head, but he catches it around the 9-yard line. So that's where Episcopal will start. And really the field position is going Woodberry Forest's way, but they haven't shown any points for it.
And they've done just enough, Episcopal that is, to get the ball away from their own end zone. They've done just enough. A couple of big running plays from Aguanobi. They have not really done anything in the passing game just yet. We'll see if that comes as the game goes along. But the most consistent offense they've had has been Aguanobi, and it's been just enough for them to not really get themselves into trouble.
The student section to our left getting it going, trying to create some noise, but up the middle goes Smith, and he'll be brought down after a gain of 4.
It was Duke Sherrill in on the tackle there. That's just a nice run. That's a really nice first down play, especially inside your own 10-yard line. Pick up a chunk of yards, get yourself into the flow of your offense.
Actually, we'll call it 5, so that places it out at the 14-yard line. Shotgun again for Aguanobi. This time the quarterback sweep. Can he get to the outside? He'll cut it back and add the first down as he spins forward at the end.
2 big blocks sealed to his left. That was a run all the way, obviously, and a good job by Aguanobi of not waiting too long to make the decision to turn up. You see it on the replay. If he had continued to go towards the sideline, he probably would have only had 2 or 3 yards. Instead, he turns up and picks up a first down.
Now it looks like some miscommunication between the wide receivers as Chase and Dixon had to talk something over. Don't know if the crowd sound is hurting them at this point. Handoff up the middle. Smith going to be brought down. Grady and Sherrill getting in to hold him to that minimal gain.
A lot of credit given by Coach Volgaris this week about the blocking ability of his receivers. You mentioned a little bit of miscommunication. You would assume a team that doesn't quite throw as much, you can understand why they would have some of that happening, but he's really credited how well his receivers have blocked throughout the year.
Now pitch out, looking to get to the outside, and not going to be there. Brought down after a host of Tigers getting there, and I believe on that carry was Rene. They brought him in to get him some big play potential, and it was a big play for Woodberry Forest.
And wouldn't you know that Tyrell was one of the defenders in on that play, just a guy that has a nose for the ball for the Tigers, the 5'9", 165-pound senior.
There's the replay, and again, just nothing there.
And now they're forced back into a 3rd and 12 situation. This has been where Aguanobi's been dangerous with his feet. You imagine they're going to call a pass, but he's going to have the option to take that ball upfield.
Need to get to the 32 for a first down. Going to throw it. That one is going to be incomplete, but pass interference will go on Tyrell. And Chase going to let him know about it.
That's going to bail him out, too, because he waited a bit too long to throw that ball. By the time he did, Tyrell almost makes the contact because he had to wait so long.
So pass interference, so that'll move it up. I believe it'll be a spot
foul.
foul.
Forest is pass interference.
Actually, no, it's going to be a 15-yarder. So it moves it all the way out to the 34 and a first down automatically.
Still have not completed a pass downfield just yet. The day of Episcopal, that's their most significant pass play of the game to this point. And again, one where they just sort of get fortunate. They just get bailed out on that play. It works that way in football. You'll take a bailout if someone will give it to you. It keeps the drive alive.
Woodberry Forest with 5 at the line, pitching it out. Chase looking for some running room. It's going to be strung out, and they're going to bring him out of bounds. And a great play by Hardin Lucas, not only to string out the play, Glenn, but make the tackle.
Absolutely, and Connor Lindemann could have been called for a hold on that play as well. Again, another play that looks really neat, but it's an awful lot to ask your offensive lineman to continue to be able to solidify those blocks. There's just nothing there. You wait as long as you can before you turn it up, but by the time he did, nothing to be had.
You say keep your outside shoulder free when you're playing defensive end, and Lucas did that one to a T. Smith looking for some room up the middle, none there. He'll get a yard.
Yeah, just too many bodies in front of him. It puts them in a 3rd and long situation once again, and for a team that has not been able to throw the ball really at all just yet, this is a very difficult spot to continue putting yourself in these 3rd and long situations.
Renee's going to stay in the game as a wide receiver. Of course, he's their standout quarterback, getting recruited by a lot of big-time schools. Chase and Dixon in as well. Chase went off early. That may be on him. Agwanobi looking for a play. He's going to throw it. This one's going to be incomplete as he looked for Phillips. The flag comes in, and if my eyes didn't deceive me, Glenn, I think Chase took off early.
I think you're right about that as well. It did appear to be a little bit early on that one, and that would mean that would just simply be declined, and we'd be on to, we'd be on to 4th down at that point.
They'll say illegal motion, and they will decline it, as you said, Glenn.
Episcopal is tripping.
Yeah, and still looking for a completion downfield. For a second there, you had Phillips. It wouldn't have mattered because they wouldn't have picked up the first down, but they need to get something going at all in their passing game. They need to do something productive with the passing game, and they just haven't been able to do that at all just yet.
Fortson back to punt, stand just outside his 22-yard line. Roderick and Tyrell back deep for Woodberry Forest as they send 2, try to negate that directional kicking.
Nearly blocked.
It's going to go, and Terrell's going to go ahead and take the fair catch at the 33.
It was Hardin Lucas who was in on that nearly was able to make contact with it and come up with that big, game-changing type of play in this game as it is. Instead, it ends up going through as a pretty decent punt. Look how close he came. And flies into the last second, nearly able to get his fingertips on the ball.
Credit Lucas. One of the things you see young kids especially, they go ahead and jump into the punter. He jumped away from the punter. Let's jump down to our Monica Moore on the sidelines.
Well, Jeremy, last time we saw Woodberry Forest play against Benedictine, we saw Lindell Stone suffer that season-ending shoulder injury, and I talked about the fact that after he had that injury, he spent the rest of the game bringing water bottles into the huddle for his teammates. Well, I'll tell you, I've been watching him today, and now that he's been sidelined with that injury, he's taken on a new role, which appears to be assistant coach. He's been in every single huddle, giving his teammates tips, telling them things that he's been seeing on the field. So I think whenever it is that his playing days are finally over, he might have a future as an assistant coach.
Thank you, Monica. Of course, Lindell Stone doing some yeoman's work as an assistant coach, trying to go ahead and keep things going on the offense as it went so well earlier in the season. Handoff up the middle. This time, I believe that one was Revere, and he gets a decent gain of 5 on the play.
And as you mentioned about Stone, Jeremy, a young man who has a lot of football ahead of him. As a sophomore, he's going to be the guy for this team moving forward after Christian Zayton graduates. And so he's still learning things despite the fact that he's not out on the field.
Apologies, a gain of 1 as it brings up a 3rd down. So looking at about 4 here, need to get it out to the 44 for a 1st down. Getting some confusion in the backfield.
They've been good on 3rd down, however, early on.
Zayton, handoff on the draw. Revere trying to get there. He will. Stays on his feet. Eventually, he's hit and brought down in the secondary by Renee, but not until an 8-yard gain.
Tremendous call there. The success that you have throwing the ball early on in the game allows that play to be opened up a bit. And as you see on the replay, there was nothing but space ahead of him. 2 blockers in front of him. He just follows it and is easily able to pick up the 1st down.
Quickly, some tempo. Woodberry Forest throws over the middle. Hearn King makes the catch, and he'll have 1st down yardage out near the 40-yard line of Episcopal, 41 to be exact.
It's just crisp, just an absolute crisp play that works exactly as called. You have a man, you're able to get the ball to him quickly, and he can turn up and get as many yards as he can. And Woodberry Forest on the move once again. We'll see if this time they're able to turn it into points.
Have not been the first few times, and now they're going to go ahead and bring Tyrell off the field, and I think Woodberry Forest is going to have to take a timeout. They're going to get a penalty on that.
Play clock was running down. When you have this type of momentum, you hate to have that ruined by a 5-yard penalty. You hate to have the momentum ruined by having to take a timeout as well, but certainly the lesser of the 2 evils in that situation.
And it's one of those interesting things, Glenn. It used to be 12 men in the huddle was always the call. Well, nobody huddles anymore, so you kind of have to – I think they've changed the rules a little bit for the referees, and really coaches have to take those timeouts. They're going to get the 5 yards that they don't want, as you said.
Yeah, you call them sugar huddles, muddle huddles. You've seen all sorts of ways to describe what it is teams do now. It is an up-tempo offense, but you're doing your best to signal in what the plays are and consistently be moving teams in. 6 minutes to play, about the midway point here of the 2nd quarter. and a big opportunity for Woodbury Forest. They've had chances they haven't been able to capitalize on. This is a big opportunity for them to finally seize a lead in this game and put the pressure on Episcopal.
Looking at team comparison, Woodbury obviously more of a defensive team, as the 67 points on the year, pretty spectacular, though they played a few less games. Handoff to Thomas, now going to be a double reverse, now a pass.
Oh, wide open.
Going to put it up. He is open. It's going to be a catch all the way down to the 15-yard line. Absolutely. As it was Ingram making the grab, and that time the razzle-dazzle worked.
It was Jonathan Sutherland who tracked it down, but that's tremendous. I mean, it was just executed perfectly. If you're going to call a timeout, that's what you want to have happen after the timeout. Make it count. That's a great spot to use at a first down play call, and tremendous execution.
And one of the great things about that is that Hearn King does see a lot of playing time, so it's not bringing in the third-string quarterback to do that. You don't know. There's no tip-off as you were.
We had just caught the ball on the previous play.
They're going to flag it to be down, as it looked like Minor had some room to maneuver, but they'll blow it dead.
And you hate to be what you follow that up with when you have this Episcopal team on their heels. Went the other way, actually.
They're going to say that Episcopal lined up offside, so 5 yards in Woodbury's favor. Here's that trick play again.
It's just perfect. It's as you mentioned,
half the distance.
He catches the ball the play prior to that, so you have no way of knowing exactly what they're running there. It's a gutsy call, and it was just executed tremendously.
So a 1st and 5, ball just inside the 10. They'll throw it out to King, trying to get some yardage out there. He'll be hit and brought down as he lunges forward across the 7.
15, Hearn King.
And they've been moving the ball effectively on this drive, using the pass. It has worked for them throughout the first half. This time just a simple screen play, good block set up, able to get himself a 2nd and short situation.
Now the Tigers go a little bit bigger as they bring in John Curvin, the 6'5", 203-pounder, as he'll play tight end.
End zone target for sure.
Man in motion, that's Ingram. Now Zayton going to keep, and he'll dive forward and be just short of the first down. They'll mark him just outside the 5. Had to get it a little bit farther in towards the 4 for a first.
And what you're hoping there is that you've spread them out so much by throwing the ball these last couple of plays that you're able to find the room in the middle of the field. A good job by Episcopal to stay disciplined in that situation, setting up a 3rd and short.
Defensive tackles, Taj Gooden, Graydon Campbell. Campbell goes 275, Gooden 230, so Woodbury doesn't go under center. If they were thinking sneak, might not be the easiest thing. As Zayton looks over that defense, needs a yard for a first down. Man in motion, they'll throw it back to him, and Roderick going to be hit and brought down. Short side of the field, and Episcopal pounces.
Eli Blair May made the first contact. He didn't bring him down, but he slowed him up enough in order to get help. That was so important in this situation. It looks as though it's going to lead to a kick.
He went in motion, then he went back and tried to keep Episcopal off that way, but they don't fall for it, and now it's going to be a field goal situation for the Tigers.
It'll be Jalen Bird who gets credited with the tackle on that play, by the way, but again, a really important job done by Eli Blair made to slow him down and allow his teammates to come help.
3:45 and rolling here in the second quarter as Hedge comes on for the field goal attempt. This one's up. It's low. As he put it through, he does. Yeah. So Woodbury Forest draws first blood. They lead Episcopal 3-0 with 3:39 left to go in the second quarter.
A 25-yard attempt, and we saw him throughout the course of warm-ups consistently making from 25, even as far as 35 yards out, which is particularly remarkable, not just for a high school kicker, but a high school kicker on a gusty, windy type of day. He has had a great season, really. He certainly has the leg, and that one was true from 25 yards out.
Interesting kicking motion on that one, almost like he took a little bit off of it, just wanted to kind of pooch it through there.
And kicking from an angle, which is a little bit trickier than people realize when you're in short distances. You almost are in a spot where you'd rather be backed up 5 yards, and let me try to continue this angle a little bit further out. But a nice kick, and Woodbury Forest finally able to put points on the board, play from ahead in this one, and put some pressure on this Episcopal offense and their freshman quarterback.
Hedge will kick off. Dixon and Chase back deep for Episcopal. Chase, the record holder for the school in the 500 or 55-meter indoor.
Just feels like this first half has flown by the way.
It has, it has. Not a lot of incompletions, so we've kind of kept things going. But could have a lot of action in this last 3.5 minutes plus. High kick, going to get into the end zone, and in high school it's a touchback. So again, Episcopal will start from their own 20.
And a lot of pressure right now on Aguanobi, a young man who has yet to complete a pass downfield today. We'll see if they'll be able to get that going offensively. He's done a nice job of running the ball, and there have been some yards when they've kept it on the ground, but they need to get something going in the passing game right now.
Aguanobi will send Chase in motion. Now the own double, now reverse pass. They'll throw it back out to Chase, and after all of that, he'll end up with 4 yards, maybe 3.
It's tough to follow.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were the play-by-play guy for that call, Jeremy. Look, you like the razzle-dazzle. You want something in order to get the passing game going, and now you can say you've completed a pass somewhat downfield, although no, that was still in the backfield when he caught that ball. But it does open up the passing game at least a bit, only giving him 2 yards along the sideline.
Great hustle again by Hardin Lucas to get out there and make that what could have been a big gain into a smaller one. Chase out in the flat, could be hit and brought down, balls on the ground. Lindemann's going to jump on top of it to save the possession.
That was a tremendous smack laid on him by Chris Kellerman in order to force the ball free. Unfortunate for Woodberry Forest, they weren't able to come up with it, but what a hit by Kellerman to get that ball on the ground.
So that'll bring up a 3rd and 3, we'll call it, maybe 3rd and 4. Aguanobi looking to push forward, and actually he'll get the help of the Woodberry Forest defenders pushing him across the line.
Yeah, a couple of defenders in on that play, including it appeared to be Ryan Kim. That's just a great job of, again, keeping your legs churning. Just move the ball forward. He did a really, really nice job there of doing just that.
So 1st and 10, ball will sit at the 31-yard line, nose of it just touching, as Episcopal looks for their first score of the game. Aguanobi looking for the slant. That's going to be knocked down by the defensive end.
It looked like it was Lionel Johnson who got his hand on that one in order to knock it down.
Number 44, Hardin Lucas.
As you see on the replay, no, it wasn't. You're right, it was the defensive end. Came around to make that play. And
Hardin Lucas again making play after play today.
Aguanobi just struggling in the pass.
Aguanobi looking deep. Now he'll throw intermediate. Chase is going to make the grab. Shakes off one tackler, and he'll take it out across the 45-yard line.
And finally, you have a pass completed downfield from Aguanobi. Again, it was their initial first down on this drive was very hard-earned. Razzle-dazzle play, fumble, fighting for it. But because of that, they're able to open things up offensively a little bit.
So around a 15-yard gain, Aguanobi, a quick pass again out to Chase. They keep feeding their man, and he's going to lunge forward out near the 50-yard line for a gain of 3+.
A pile there, including John Dixon, who was blocking for him to try to get that ball downfield. They're moving the ball crisply now here on this second drive. Aguanobi settling in a little bit, feeling a bit more comfortable as we approach 2 minutes to play in the half.
Again, Aguanobi this time looking for Renee, who's going to have first down yardage to be brought down across the 45-yard line. They give him all the way down to the 42.
We were talking about how good Coach Pano Volgaris has felt about his receivers, his blockers on back-to-back plays. You see exactly why.
Now a trick play formation here. They've sent really 2 linemen, 3 linemen in the middle, 2 linemen. See what they do out of this. Could be a very myriad of things. Instead, they go right up the middle for a gain of 3.
Just trying to catch him napping with that formation. Again, a good job done there by Woodberry Forest to not buy into it, to stay disciplined, and to prevent a gain on that first down play.
So gain of, we'll call it 3. Take the ball to the 39-yard line as the Maroon look for their first score of the game. 1:36 and rolling.
All 3 timeouts still for Episcopal, by the way.
Smith up the middle once again. Will be brought down at the 35-yard line after a gain of 4.
It'd be interesting to see if they choose to use any of those timeouts, as we're under a minute and a half to play in the first half. They're not yet in scoring position. You don't want to give the ball back to Woodberry Forest. I would assume if you pick up the first down here, you start thinking about using your timeouts.
3rd and 4. Aguanobi got some room to run. He's going to be hit by Stevenson, drags him forward, and he should have first down yardage to the 30.
Boy, it is really tough to get him on the ground, isn't it? He makes that first contact isn't bringing Seth Aguanobi down today. You're going to have to continue to work on that pursuit, stand to him up. As where the contact was made,
first down, Episcopal.
They had a chance.
Timeout, Episcopal.
To wrap him up before he picked up the first down, but he just kept those legs churning. And indeed, exactly as we assumed, they pick up the first down, and they use their first of 3 timeouts.
Well, 1 down for Episcopal, but still have those 2 left with 1:04 to go. And a quick look at some team stats in this one. For coming into the game, Woodberry Forest averaging 169.4 per game, 131.3. Of course, tackles, the sacks per game. Get a lot of pressure up front for a team that really isn't that big. And, of course, points, getting that going. Last few games, they've had some pretty good scoring outputs, put up a lot of points on Fork Union Military Academy. Yeah. Also, St. Christopher over 35, both of those games.
You mentioned the sacks. Wiley Mendocino leads the way with 5. 3 sacks for Hardin Lucas, 2 for Duke Sherrill. It'll be interesting to see right here now, putting together a nice drive, exactly what it is that Episcopal does from the 30-yard line. They try to go back to the air, or knowing they have 1:04 and 2 timeouts, will they be able to stay on the ground?
Aguinobi going to go back to pass, looking something out in the flat. It's going to be good, looking for, I believe that was supposed to be a hook and ladder, but Phillips never made the catch.
Was it a hook and ladder, or did the ball just come out awkwardly? I could not exactly tell exactly what happened there. We'll see on the replay. That was a hook and ladder. It was a dangerous play. I think that might have been a modified hook and ladder. That might have been a situation where he wasn't able to catch the ball, but he knew he had a chance to shovel it to one of his teammates. If it was, I don't know that the coaching staff will love the decision.
Yeah, it looked weird. It looked like Phillips might have been able to get those big hands on it, but instead tries to dish it away. Now Aguinobi trying to get loose, and he will not. Brought down as it was Johnson making the play.
Yeah, Lionel Johnson, the young man from the Bahamas, 5'11", 178-pound junior.
And a flag comes in late, and I believe...
Was it behind the play?
Personal foul on Episcopal, I think maybe right there.
Oh, after the play, okay. Yep.
Episcopal, personal foul.
Sure, saw it right at the end.
And if you're Penna Vulgaris, that just makes you so angry.
And if it's indeed after the play, you lose the down anyway, which makes it worse. Not to say that you ever want to lose 15 yards, but worse to put yourself in a 3rd and 25 situation than a 2nd and 25 situation.
And that is just a killer if you're Episcopal. As you have the ball, you're getting close into the least field goal range. I'm not exactly sure what their kickers can do, though we've been told not the range they showed in pregame wasn't that great.
No, and now you got to think about maybe just keeping the ball on the ground and not allowing Woodberry Forest to come up with a play here before half. Although 30 seconds left, maybe the time alone allows the opportunity to chuck this one downfield.
You hear the crowd behind us getting going. Aguinobi calling signals. He's going to go draw. This one's going to be brought down Smith for a 5-yard loss.
And I don't think Smith, there was an absolute miscamiscommunication between the two of them of what was expected on that play. Woodberry Forest is going to take their timeout and force the punt. It appears as though there's not going to be a lot of time for them to try to do anything, but this allows them to at least send a punt block unit. Hardin Lucas nearly came up with the last one, so this gives them an opportunity to at least send a punt block unit out and try to come away with a block.
Of course, we could also see them trying to set up the return. As we've got to remember, back deep for Woodberry Forest, Nathaniel Tyrell. Again, if you haven't heard the numbers, they are just fantastic. 1 kickoff return, 3 punt returns, 2 rushing touchdowns on the season, also an interception return on the year. So he is a guy, if he gets the ball in the open field, I think if you're Penna Vulgaris, you basically tell your punter, kick it out of bounds.
Yeah, though you certainly don't give him the opportunity to. Although the kicks today have not presented much in the way of opportunities for returns, part of that being the wind is a factor for sure. If you're Episcopal, you've just got to be absolutely kicking yourself over how that drive came to a halt. 15-yard penalty was an absolute killer in that situation, and a real opportunity to try to go into the half at least tied, if not with the lead.
Again, Fortson on to punt, a little bit, and maybe no flag will come out. Tyrell's going to try and take it. He picks it at his own 15-yard line, looking for some room, trying to get to the sideline. Tyrell still on his feet. He's at the 40-yard line. He's still on his feet. Tyrell's got nobody to beat, and he is going to take it to the house. No penalty flags on the field. No crime on the clock. Nathaniel Tyrell, big play again.
Boy, what do you know, Jeremy Huber? What do you know? Saying they might set up a punt return. Unbelievable. Just a tremendous job done of waiting for his blockers. You'll see it here on the replay. This place is going crazy. Multiple defenders had an opportunity to bring him down. He breaks all of them, finally beats the punter, and he was off to the races at that point, and an opportunity to go in the locker room now up 10-0. What a drastic change in the final seconds. That's why they took the timeout. Said, let's see. Let's just give them a chance. Let's just get out there. First of all, the punt was nearly blocked.
Yep.
Again, another opportunity to block a punt, as coming through was Harden Lucas once again. Ball gets through and brought back by Tyrell for the touchdown.
Again, I'm just kind of shocked. His hedge is going to come on for the extra point, and he goes and puts it through. Actually, no, he does put it through. Thought he might have missed that one from our angle, but just a little bit shocked that they even let him do that.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. The strategy there is to say, look, there's not enough time for the offense to do anything. Don't put a ball there that could even be touched by Tyrell. Don't give him a chance to do anything with that one. Instead, that ends up being the biggest play of the first half, the final play of the first half, and the biggest play of the first half, and a massive swing as just before halftime, an opportunity for Episcopal to perhaps tie the game up, take a lead. It could have been as much as a 14-point swing there in the final seconds because of that 15-yard penalty.
Again, just amazing, again, that they go ahead and give that chance to Woodberry Forest to do that. We talked about it. We just went down, as you give me credit. You don't have to, and if you know the stats on Woodberry Forest, all the returns by Tyrell this season, they give him a chance, and he burns Episcopal again.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a play that shouldn't happen. I mean, they had pursuit over there. It wasn't as if he made it was just a patient play, a few missed tackles. You see again here on the replay, he went to his left all the way. 3 defenders miss, another opportunity. All you got to do is bring him down. At this point, even if you bring him down at midfield, it's not a problem. There's not enough time on the clock for Woodberry Forest to do anything with it. You just have to make a tackle in that situation. No one did. He stays on his feet, and before you know it, he's in the end zone, and now it's a 10-0 game that's got to feel in the locker room right now. If I'm an Episcopal player, if I'm an Episcopal coach, it probably feels more along the lines of 20-0 right now. That's how dramatic a play, a dramatic a turn that is. It's so sizably different. Again, even if you make the tackle at midfield, even if it wasn't a great play and you're frustrated about it, you're able to walk in the locker room and say, guys, it's a 3-0 game. We are very much in this one with a great opportunity to beat a good team on the road. Instead, you go in the locker room down 10-0 and you're starting to think about how you might have to call plays differently. You're 2 possessions down. Do you have to throw the ball more? Is that part of your offense you've got to throw out at this point? That's a killer of a play right before the half. And for Woodberry Forest, what a momentum boost that gives them. That they had played well. They had pretty much dominated on both sides of the ball, but they didn't have a lot to show for it. This sort of makes up some of the failures of their previous drives. Now they go in up 10-0, feeling very good about themselves and feeling like this is their game to control now in the second half.
Yeah, and of course, they just have to be sky high. Again, Tyrell coming through. He's done it in so many games. Again, if you don't know the stats, Nathaniel Tyrell scored a touchdown in every game but one this season, and they've all been big. I was talking to Clint Alexander before the Benedictine game we did. He said, look, he won some games for us just with the turns he had and some of the big plays he was able to put out there. And again, he does it again today and puts them in position, as you said, make it a 2-score game for an Episcopal team that's had trouble moving the ball.
All right, he wears number 21. He has an interception already in the game, and he's run back a punt for a touchdown. Who does he remind you of?
Prime time.
Yeah, maybe a little bit like Deion Sanders. I mean, that's a remarkable first half. And 2 massive, massive game-changing plays made by the playmaker, as we go back to the Dallas Cowboys there. This is a game that is still very much there for Episcopal if they can get going, but it just feels so drastically that it's turned and now at halftime. And it's going to be really difficult for Coach Pano Vulgaris and his staff to pick these kids back up after they go through something like that. Again, you go in down 3-0, or even if you go in down 10-0, but you made a couple of plays before the half. Look, we know it could have been 3-3. It could have been 7-3 the other way if they had done something more with that last drive. But you go in that situation, you're frustrated, but you know you're very much in that. Going that way, I don't think that we can possibly understate how drastic that is, what happened right there before halftime.
Of course, where you may hear from Clint Alexander, the head coach of Woodberry Forest, of course, as you see on the screen, all the Tigers in college, 55. In fact, last week he had a chance to get up and see his 3 players at Notre Dame, C.J. Procyse, Doug Randolph, and Greer Martini. You see the guys on the screen, obviously, and you can see the smile of Coach Alexander, how happy he was to be up with his guys up at FedEx Field. We're about to hear from him with our Monica Moore. Let's get it down to Coach Alexander. Monica.
Coach, an outstanding way to end the second quarter. Can you talk about the series of events leading up to it and Tyrell's touchdown?
Well, we got a big defensive stop finally, and I thought that was big. They were running kind of a trick, the old Florida Gator offensive 3-by-3 set. Big sack by Wiley. Set up that. Ryan Alexander said, hey, make sure you call your timeout. Let's get a punt return. We thought we had a chance at punt return earlier, and Nathaniel Fair caught it. We begged him, don't fair catch it. We're going to block him. Please return it. And he's magic.
And what adjustments are you looking to make for the second half?
Well, we had to settle down on the defensive front. We're running up. Everybody's so excited. They're getting out of their lanes. Everybody wants to make a sack as opposed to work together. So I think we saw that. Offensively, getting our pace going. Of course, everybody's having a hard time here, and we're making some mistakes that way. If we can settle that down, we get the ball first, and it's a big drive for us.
Best of luck in the second half, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, Coach. Quick look at some highlights. This first play of the game, and who else was it, Glenn?
Tyrell, the story of the first half. What makes this worse, too, because, remember, that was their first possession, it means that Woodberry Forest gets the ball back to start the second half. So not only do they go in with a touchdown to go up 10-0, but they get the ball first and an opportunity to start running the ball.
Of course, though, Episcopal didn't hurt them as they got the ball back. Then you started to see them get some things going. But again, Tyrell making a play there to knock it loose. Woodberry would then go on offense as they would go ahead and look to get some things going. And kind of shaky early on, but then they would make some big plays like this one.
Yeah, did not settle down necessarily. This was just a broken play, broken tackle that allowed them to get downfield and set things up. Wouldn't come away with points on this drive, but they would ultimately get it going, as you mentioned, offensively in the second quarter.
Zach Roderick on that catch and run, and this one going up top for Ingram and a fantastic catch.
Yeah, this was just, absolutely the offensive play of the game so far. Just a tremendous toss from Zayton, trusting his receiver, and a very, very good job done. Here you see in special teams, Madden making the play, down by the goal line, turning around, getting his head on a swivel, and pinning Episcopal in on the 2-yard line on that punt.
And that was kind of a key theme throughout the half, and this Episcopal trying to get something going, but instead the Woodberry defense rising up as Duke Sherrill again with a big play.
Yeah, and 5 defenders there as they weren't fooled by much in the first half.
And this coming at direct snap, looking to get to their playmaker, Renee, and nothing was there as, again, the Tiger defense stiffened up really between the end of the first quarter, middle of the second. Episcopal started getting some things going later on in the half. This was a big pass interference, maybe the only bad thing Tyrell's done all game.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about that. This is, again, when Episcopal, that was their first positive play on a downfield pass. They got it going a little bit more before halftime. Their final possession, they had to punt it away, unfortunately for them. That was the one that was returned for a touchdown. But that was that pass interference play, and as you see here, just a tremendous job done on the double reverse that ultimately became a throw downfield.
Hearn King ended up hitting Ingram on that long pass. They didn't only get a field goal out of it as this play to Roderick got blown up by the Episcopal defense, and they would bring on kicker Liam Hedge to go ahead and knock it through, and he's been great today so far, not only on his field goals but on his kickoffs as well.
Yeah, the first points of the half, it was 3-0 at that point, and Episcopal did a nice job on their final drive of the first half. They really moved the ball well. You see here a play. They were fortunate to recover the fumble on that one, but they finally get the ball going offensively. Aguanobi making some plays downfield. This one was knocked down. Nice play by Hardin Lucas. But ultimately, it was that 15-yard penalty that really killed him. This was the third down play that set up the punt. There was just a miscommunication in the backfield, and it led to this final play of the first half where Tyrell made it a 10-0 game.
Interestingly, Tyrell with that punt return again coming through was Hardin Lucas, and there was some contact on the punt, and I was expecting to see a flag come down. If you're Coach Voulgaris, you might be angry at the fact that that didn't come down, but either way, the flag didn't, and the magic man, Nathaniel Tyrell, took it to the house.
It's been his half, and certainly as a senior, this is his final time playing in the game, his final opportunity to leave an impact, and 24 minutes in, he's left quite the impact in his final matchup against Episcopal.
And it's been a big game for him, a big game so far for the Tigers as they are out to a 10-0 lead here at the half at Woodberry Forest. You see a shot of the Episcopal stands and their cheerleaders. Both sides cheerleaders today looks like they are wearing some color-coded for school, some camouflage. Looking quickly, of course, the traditions of Woodberry, the headmasters goes all the way back 1897. Look at some of the folks, of course, Byron Holsey, the current headmaster at Woodberry Forest. But, you know, that's tradition. You look going all the way back at how long some of the folks have been around and served at this fine school.
I didn't know the history of the residence here at Woodberry, which is where the headmaster actually lives. This is a really, really remarkable story. Compact plantation house built in 1793, for William Madison, who was then a member of the Virginia House of Delegates for 7 consecutive terms. He's the brother of President James Madison. Area as well. In 1793, is this from the National Park Service, James Madison asked Thomas Jefferson to supply plans for a house for his brother. Jefferson, who was a close friend of the president, suggested a floor plan for a 7-room house in geometric configuration that is a hallmark of Jefferson's residential design. It is known as the residence. That's where the headmaster lives here at Woodberry Forest School. It's a really, really neat place if you get the opportunity to see it.
Yes, most definitely. There's so much history at this place. Of course, back to our game at hand and keys to the game. Glenn, looking back at what we saw earlier before the game, I thought the effort was pretty good. Line of scrimmage not bad, and the pursuit and wrap up not awful either. It's just really, I guess, the last key on that punt return didn't go their way.
It didn't wrap up on the punt return. And again, how much differently are we thinking? The conversation you and I are having is drastically different if only the third guy brings down Tyrell on that punt return. We would be sitting here praising the way they played. Instead, they're in this massive hole.
Now for Woodberry Forest, run the football, not
fairly
so great.
well. I mean, there hasn't been a lot there, though.
There hasn't been. They've had to move the ball via the pass. Of course, stopping the run, they've been okay, though the quarterback runs have hurt them, then limit the explosive plays. Pretty good there, as you've been saying, really haven't got those deep balls for Episcopal at all today.
The only explosive plays have been the runs from Aguinobi. That when it's been there, he's been able to find the space and use it and turn it upfield. That's been it. That really has been the offense for the most part in the first half for Episcopal.
So again, 10-0 our score at the half as Woodberry Forest leads Episcopal. Episcopal back out on the field looking to go ahead and warm things up as they look to go get some things going. We talked about the keys, Glenn. What are some things you think maybe Episcopal can do to turn things around in the second half?
They have to build off of this drive that they had at the end of the first half, and it's got to start with, this is the brutal part. Again, if you get the ball back to start the second half, you have that opportunity to sort of immediately wipe away what happened on the punt return. Instead, they first have to, the defenders have to come up with a play. They've got to get Woodberry Forest off the field quickly and allow the offense to settle in and get something going. They had some momentum, the offense did, going into the half. They have to sustain that. They've got to do a good job. These wide receiver screens really seem to work. That's something they're going to try to build on in the second half.
Looking at the schedule, of course, we mentioned it a little bit. Woodberry Forest looking for an undefeated season, and you look at some of the teams they beat, kind of a who's who of private schools in the area. They already won the Virginia Prep League title. Of course, they're coming into this game really hot. You look at it, the first game against Liberty Christian, that was a close one, low-scoring, Benedictine low-scoring. We could be headed for another one of those as really only 10-0 here at the half.
Yeah, it's a great point. By the way, it's interesting, and maybe we should pose it to a couple of Woodberry Forest fans. If you were to be told you're going to go 7-1 and win the Prep League, but lose to Episcopal, or
I don't think they'd take that.
Yeah, right. Or the other scenario is you go 3-5, you don't win the Prep League, but you do beat Episcopal. I think they might take the second scenario even more. That's how much this game means to them.
Now on the other side of things for Episcopal, of course, they play some similar teams. We talked about Collegiate, talked about Flint Hill, also play Bishop Ireton, and the rest of their schedule, the tough IAC. And Bullis, the team that won the IAC, really with their win over Episcopal last week. Very tough team. Episcopal hung with them. Maybe the program not exactly ready to jump over the Bulldogs yet.
And Coach Vulgaris was not disappointed with the way that his team played. Even in a 2-touchdown loss at Bullis, he said, look, that's just a really, really good team. We did everything well. We executed well. Our effort was good. There's nothing for me to complain about our performance against Bullis. We competed against a really, really good team, and on that particular day, they happened to beat us.
And, of course, Episcopal, a little bit in building stage, so they have to be happy after what they've done this season. We had kind of being just one game away from winning the IAC and really being a competitive team and turning things around under Coach Vulgaris. He likes what he's getting from his kids in Alexandria, but, of course, he'd love to kind of finish it off with a win here.
Absolutely, and what that does, again, nobody ever remembers the Bullis game. The loss never, it's as if it never happened if you can come away with this victory, but it's so much of a different story now at the half. I feel like we're beating a dead horse. We're going to sound like a broken record. This is a drastically different game because of that punt return touchdown at the end.
Just seeing some, there was a student doing some acrobatics.
Just for the fun of it, just for no reason.
I know I could never do that.
I couldn't do that when I was 16. You know, when I was 16, my body wasn't capable of doing those things, no doubt. But it's just an amazing, amazing atmosphere. We've been talking about it throughout the first half, and it continues to be certainly a deflating moment there for Episcopal, but you see their fans sticking on very much, still hearty, still making noise, and setting up for what still has the chance to be, again, it feels like it's 20-0 because of the way that it ended, but it's still only 10-0. One play, an early turnover forced, something along those lines, and you can get right back into this game early on in the third quarter.
And Woodberry leading Episcopal 10-0 here at the half. Jeremy Huber, Glenn Clark, Monica Moore with you here from Central Virginia. A lovely but cool day. Of course, the lovely scenery is part of what makes it that way, but it's been a great day so far for football, especially if you're bundled up. Of course, want to look quickly at the big play that took us to the half, the one Glenn and I have been referencing, the Nathaniel Tyrell punt return, and again, just a fantastic play by a great playmaker.
And it just changes everything about the complexion of this game. If you weren't with us before the half, Episcopal was moving the ball downfield with an opportunity to tie things up. They started using timeouts late in the first half. Now you look back and you say, if they never use that timeout, they never have to punt the ball, no problem. You know, you just go to the half down 3-0, it's not the end of the world. But they were moving the ball well. They had an opportunity to tie it up, perhaps take the lead. Instead, one 15-yard penalty changes the entire complexion of that drive. It backs them up. They're forced to try to run the ball on third down, force Woodberry Forest to use their final timeout. They have to punt the ball. As you mentioned, bizarre that they would even give the ball to Tyrell with an opportunity. Again, that could be a mistake by the punter. It might not have been a coaching decision, but they give Tyrell the opportunity. They had plenty of chances to bring Tyrell down along the sideline, the near sideline, as he moved upfield. He just eluded them, and at the end of the play, they were up 10-0, and it just absolutely has it's a seismic shift. I mean, it really is dramatic. We can't come up with enough adjectives to describe how significant that play is. It is a massive, massive backbreaker for Episcopal. They're not done. They're not.
Yep.
There's still very much plenty of time to do something.
I think one thing that if you're Clint Alexander, you're the head coach, you have to go into your locker room and tell your guys, look, we're getting the ball first. Let's put this thing away as soon as possible.
Yeah, big opportunity for them. It'll be interesting to see. They threw the ball a good bit in the first half. It'll be interesting to see now playing up 10-0 and seeing the struggles of Episcopal's offense if they look to keep it on the ground a little bit more. There's 24 minutes left on the clock. If you can come away with, let's just say they put together a 5-minute drive here, even if it doesn't turn into points, a 5-minute drive and forcing Episcopal to start with the ball maybe inside their own 20, you'd be putting them in a world of hurt at that point, even if you don't extend your lead.
And it's interesting when we kind of look at things, we talk about the running game, and it hasn't been that great for Woodberry. You wonder if the ankle injury to Minor, since really he's their guy when it came to a guy who could kind of break some tackles and make some plays, Revere more the speed guy, if you want that kind of pounded out drive, or we may see a couple other guys, Jared Hash, who's filled in for them, kind of a bigger guy, a senior, maybe see him, but something kind of get a little more forward giddy up when it comes to the running game.
And you can't over pursue if you're Episcopal. You can't allow the emotions, what happened. A lot of times when you're in this situation, you want to try to get all 10 points on one play. And the danger in that, if you're Episcopal, if you're thinking along the lines of, well, we got to force a turnover, we've got to make a big play defensively, get off the field, the danger in that is what you allow to have happen behind you, and at that point, you do more harm than good with your aggression. They got to keep the emotions in check. It's very frustrating to go into the half down 10-0. It's incredibly frustrating to go in allowing a punt return touchdown on the final play of the half. But you still have to play solid fundamental football as the second half gets started. Remember, there's plenty of time on the clock. Again, at 10-0, this game isn't over until 30 seconds left in the game. You can come up with 10 points in football even when your offense isn't necessarily high-powered throwing the ball. They've got the capability to do it. They've got the capability to do it. A 10-0 game is still very much a game. If it becomes a 17-0 game or a 24-0 game by the end of the third quarter, it's probably over at that point.
Interesting. Clint Alexander going to go ahead and coach from the rooftop in the second half. The 9th coach in 116 years of Woodberry Forest football. A tradition that really just kind of goes down through the years. Coach Alexander going through his 10th year this year. Coach of the year in 09, 10, and 08 as well.
Wouldn't be surprised at all if he was again here in 2014, the way that Woodberry Forest has performed. Could be coaching for that honor today.
Well, and interesting here, Glenn, you talk about, I rarely do you see a coach go to the rooftop to coach. I've seen it a couple times back in the day. I remember Lou Holtz, when he had some health issues, did it, but you very rarely, just because of the fact that so many little calls have to be made from the sidelines, you don't do it from the roof. But obviously Coach Alexander has seen something he likes from up there, and he's going to do it.
And Joe Paterno did it at the end of his career, but again, as you mentioned, it was health related. It was reaching a point where he just couldn't do it the other way any longer. Sean Payton did it after he broke his leg a few years ago for the New Orleans Saints.
So now kicking off will be Timmy Phillips, the wide receiver. Their normal kicker Duncan Trow not out there today, so interesting there. But Phillips will kick off. Going back deep, it'll be Tyrell. He's joined, looks like back deep, by his teammate number 10, as we see the kickoff by Phillips. And going to be Michael Davenport trying to get underneath of it. It gets by him and stays in the field of play. So almost the out of bounds, which would put it at the 35. Instead, it goes into the end zone, so a touchback.
Yeah, that was very fortunate, sort of on all ends on that play. Davenport couldn't find the ball. For a second, it looked as though it might be a penalty. Fortunate for Episcopal that they will be able to give Woodberry Forest the ball instead of the 20-yard line. And for Woodberry Forest, it's simple. The emotion works both ways. When you have a big play like that, you're not, you'd love to put them away on this drive, but you're not putting them away on the first play. The idea is just go out and do everything that we've been doing, continue the success of the offense in the second half. It's an interesting.
Nathaniel Tyrell will line up in the shotgun. He's going to take it, spins. He's going to be hit and brought down just across. Now the ball came loose, and I think that's going to be Episcopal ball if they don't say he's down, and they will say it's the Maroons.
Look at that. As we were just talking about, one turnover changes the game drastically. One play in, and perhaps a little bit too cute going to the Wildcat right there. Tyrell's had such a strong first half that you understand wanting to have him on the field, but you've been doing things the right way. It's certainly something that you can question the decision. Now you give Aguinobi and the Episcopal offense the ball at the 20-yard line with an opportunity to get right back into this game when you had a chance to put it away.
I think Jalen Bird popped that one loose. Great strip by him. Now Aguinobi looking deep into the end zone, going for Phillips. Wow! Makes the catch, and it's a touchdown. Episcopal right back in it.
That is absolutely unbelievable. Boy, this is fun, huh? This is what a change in just 17 seconds. You see it here on the replay. Aguinobi able to show off the arm. He had a one-on-one situation. That's a well-played ball. Defender never found it whatsoever. It was Portugal in defending on that play. He never saw the ball at all. And we are about to, let's see.
Kick is up by Trow after the high snap, put back down. It will be good. Got a credit on that play, number 13, Rodney Mitchell, getting that one down, the high snap. And as you said, now just a 3-point game. What a change of events.
Everything I mean, it's like you and I saw the future today. The way that we predicted some of this stuff. I mean, everything that we were saying at the half, it just takes one play. As bad as it felt to give up that touchdown, as you see the touchdown for Episcopal once again right here on the replay, that's just a tremendous throw and catch. That is really, really outstanding. But everything we talked about, you put yourself in a position where that can be a backbreaker. All you need is one play. You get the turnover, and that's smart. You go for the big play right off the turnover. You say, let's take our chance downfield. Let's hope that we catch them emotionally down a bit. You saw this was the fumble just a second ago from Tyrell.
And actually, I think that was Taj Gooden, the defensive tackle, who pulled that ball loose.
Yeah, it was. You're absolutely right.
Which you don't see a lot from defensive tackles. That's a linebacker move.
On the ground, and this is because the Tyrell was stood up on the play. He had the opportunity at that point to say, let me get in there and see if I can't get that ball out. And we have essentially a brand new football game. Woodberry Forest still with a 10-7 lead now early on in the third quarter, but two massive, massive changes in this game. The final play of the first half and the first couple of plays of the second half.
So Phillips again will go ahead and kick off for Episcopal. Back deep, it's Tyrell. A pooch kick, and this is going to go out of bounds. And this time it doesn't work in Episcopal's favor, as Woodberry's going to have great field position to start off.
And I understand not wanting to give Tyrell an opportunity to return the ball. You get it, but instead you give Woodberry Forest an opportunity with good field position to try to get their offense going once again. And
now here's the question. It looks like Woodberry may make them re-kick.
You can understand them wanting to give Tyrell the opportunity to run one back. I don't know that that would be the decision that I would make. I would never want to give away the ball. You see it on the replay here. Strategy is to try to just keep it away, but that's easier said than done.
So now Phillips will kick off from his 35-yard line. See if the strategy changes. Assuming he's going to aim for that kind of pop-up kick that'll drop right around the 40, between the 40 and the 30.
And they're keeping Tyrell to that side of the field with the thought that if he gets a little bit more on the ball, you could still get a return out of it.
Up backs who may come into play on this, Lionel Johnson, also Jared Hash. Phillips again to kick off. Back deep, it's Tyrell and Davenport. 11:43 to go in the third quarter, just back underway. Phillips this time with a squib kick down the middle, going to be taken. Johnson almost loses it. He's going to get loose for a second, then be undercut right near the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like they actually ended up losing a yard on the decision to re-kick, but not a drastic difference either way. And you can see the thought that you want to try to get the ball to Tyrell. You see here on the replay, it was dangerous for a second as the ball hung in the air, but Johnson able to come up with control of it, and Woodberry Forest will start from their own 34-yard line.
So looks like they'll go back to a more conventional set after a little bit of razzle-dazzle. He's trying, but Tyrell giving it away. Zayton back out as quarterback. He'll be joined by Revere as his lone running back. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Zayton hands off Revere. Up the middle, spins off one tackler. Can't spin off the linebackers as they'll bring him down for a 2-yard gain.
Good job staying on the feet right there. I want to go back to the decision to go to the bag of tricks and the Wildcat on the first possession of the second half. They had some success with trick plays in the first half. Perhaps what they were doing there was setting something up, that it was more a case of we've got something else that we might go to. Could involve Tyrell throwing the ball at some point. It didn't work, but you understand them using it.
Zayton, that one way overthrown on Ingram, and a flag's going to go down. Probably some illegal motion for the Tigers.
See, the clap that you saw from Zayton made me think that perhaps that was an offsides call. I didn't see it, though. I didn't know. I just noticed Zayton clapping after he saw the flag come down. But you're right, it goes against Woodberry Forest.
Legal shift. It looked like the wide receiver turned up a little bit early. And I think Episcopal's going to decline it. The referees thought they were going to take them back, and Coach Vulgaris is saying decline. He's been saying it for about the last 10 seconds.
It's an interesting decision as well. I guess when you've seen a team convert on 3rd and long earlier in the game, you say to yourself, so let's force them to have one play to try to get it instead of 2 plays. But boy, some interesting decision making with the penalties so far in the second half. We're only 1 minute in.
Going to be an exciting finish, I'm sure. 3rd and 7 for Woodberry. They'll hand off to Revere on a draw. He'll get some yardage, but he won't get enough as he'll be brought down about 3 yards short of the sticks.
And if you're Episcopal, there could not have been a better 60 seconds to start the second half. This could not have gone any better for you whatsoever. You're already back within 3 points. See a nice job done there on the pursuit in order to bring that down from behind. But you could not have asked for anything better to start the second half, to give yourself an opportunity now with the ball in a couple of seconds and an opportunity to try to tie it up or move ahead.
Hedge to punt. Sutherland's back deep inside his own 20. He's going to take it. Looks to get to the outside. And Sutherland stays on his feet for a second. Almost fell down. Ends up getting it out to around the 32.
And here you are, Seth Aguinobi. Maroons 5 playing like an animal, if you will, this afternoon. Opportunity for Episcopal. And all of the momentum squarely on their side now at this point. I mean, we spent 15 minutes at halftime talking about how they had no momentum. Now they've got all of it back with them just a minute and a half into this third quarter.
Momentum can change quickly with a turnover. Handoff Smith. He'll be brought down after a minimal gain coming in from his defensive end spot, Wiley Mendocino.
Yeah, nothing going there on that first run play, but the entire playbook available to you now is it's 10-7 game once again. And
Mendocino chasing that one down. We'll actually say it's a 1-yard loss. Now it looks like Episcopal shifting their linemen a bit. Still some confusion.
We saw them use that 3 lineman formation for a play in the first half.
Agwanobi trying to get to the outside. Can he get there? Sherrill got his ankle, couldn't bring him down, and he'll get it out to near the 40-yard line, so a gain of around 8 on the play.
And he turned that into 10 yards where there didn't appear to be anything there, and it was the absolute last second that he could turn it up, as you see on the replay. Out in front, he remains parallel. He finally makes the turn right near the sideline. By the time he gets there, he sets up a 3rd and 2.
Need to get it to the 42 for a first. Smith up the middle. He's got some room. He's the 50-yard line. He's at the 40-yard line. One man to beat. Can he get there? He'll be brought down from behind by Grady, but not until he gets inside the 20 down to the 16.
That's a tremendous job of just hitting a hole and going. Not overthinking about it, not trying to make one more cut in order to make sure you get to the end zone, but instead taking what was there in front of you. On the replay, you see he had nothing but real estate ahead. He just took it, he ran, and they are in the red zone once again here in the 3rd quarter.
Looking for some room. None there. Eventually, though, gets it all the way down to the 11-yard line, so very patient by Agwanobi.
Yeah, nothing really going on that play, but Agwanobi doing a good job of finding space. Again, a play that appeared to be busted, he turned into a 5-yard gain.
And now, Woodberry Forest going to get an injury timeout as Grady went to the ground. He was hurting.
And that's probably a convenient spot to have an injury timeout. Not that you certainly hope that Grady's fine and there's no concern there, but that's a spot where if you hadn't had an injury timeout, you might have wanted to think about taking a timeout anyway, that everything has gone wrong for you to start the second half.
We see the touchdown again, and really the referees had to go and drag Episcopal out of their huddle. They thought it was a normal timeout.
Right.
And again, here's the great catch by Phillips.
And you could have understood Woodberry Forest taking a timeout, as I was just saying, Jeremy, that this is a spot where the momentum is so clearly on the side of Episcopal right now that you almost would have thought it smart for Woodberry Forest to take a timeout just to stem the tide.
Handoff Smith. Again, shakes a few tacklers, going to get it near the 5-yard line, be really close to the sticks.
Looks like they're going to mark him a bit short. Well, it's right about at the 6-yard line.
So they'll say 3rd and short here. Agwanobi remains in the shotgun. He'll hand off, no, keeps. Looks to get to the outside. Agwanobi going to be hog-tied down as they'll bring him down. He has first down yardage inside the 5.
It was a rough-looking tackle. Again, Hardin Lucas in on that one. Agwanobi's okay, and they've got a 1st and goal situation now and an opportunity, unbelievably, to move ahead in this game just 4 minutes into the second half.
Handoff Smith, bangs down. Is he into the end zone?
Right there.
They're going to say he's down at the 1-yard line, maybe inches away from the goal line.
And Woodberry, or the Episcopal players, are pleading with the officials to say that he got in. It looked like he was right at the goal line from here.
Agwanobi's limping. I thought I saw him kind of give a don't run that play to Coach Voulgaris. They'll hand off to Smith. He'll be brought down in the backfield by Lucas.
And that was dangerous on the bobble. Agwanobi bobbled that on the snap, and as soon as he did, it completely turned the timing of that play. And you go from having the ball right on the goal line now to perhaps a throwing situation on 3rd and goal.
Yeah, they'll mark this at the 2, may even be closer to the 3. A little more power formation as Lindemann drops back in the backfield.
Agwanobi under center now.
Smith will get it off right tackle. Going to be hit. Spins forward. Stood up. Does he get into the end zone? The pile going forward. I think Woodberry stops him, and they will stop him inside the 1-yard line.
What a decision here now for Episcopal. You've had all the momentum in the first 5 minutes of the second half, but you could give it right back if you go for this and you don't get it in the end zone. They are going to go for it, it appears.
Agwanobi, as we see the replay here, good job at initial contact. You guys getting in there, look like Stevenson getting in. Agwanobi is clearly limping right now, so he may not be a run threat. We'll see. Again, that power formation, power eye. Sutherland joined by Lindemann. Deep back is Smith. Agwanobi fakes the handoff. Is going to roll out. Probably can get there if he runs. Instead, throws it to Sutherland, and Episcopal has the lead.
Wow. Absolutely amazing turn of events here in the second half. Incredible. A gutsy call there on 4th and goal to throw the ball. A long rollout, as you see here on the replay. Lucas on the pursuit, and right before he's able to get there, Agwanobi lets go of the ball and finds Sutherland for the touchdown. And now Episcopal, buried at halftime, has forged ahead.
Trow on to kick it. Kick is up, and he puts it through. So now Episcopal up 14-10. Still plenty of time left to go, but again, the Maroon have come back and taken the lead. Let's get it down to our Monica Moore.
Thanks, Jeremy. Just a quick injury update about Woodberry Forest. Ryan Grady, who was getting some treatment on the sideline. It looked like it was his left shoulder that was getting treated. He was doing some stretches, and they were checking him out. It looks like the shoulder's going to be fine. He also had some cuts and bruises taped up, but otherwise looks like he's ready to go.
Thank you, Monica. Of course, Ryan Grady with that shoulder. He's really their depth linebacker. He's actually back out on the field. Have to watch that shoulder. He's the guy that kind of spells all those backers and a standout on special teams. We'll see what he can do the rest of the way.
And just big plays on the ground on that drive. And Jeremy, I cannot, I'm almost dumbfounded. All the adjectives, I ran out of adjectives to describe what a back-breaking play that punt return at the end of the first half was. It was as if the game was over in that moment.
But you give it right back on that turnover.
All it took was one play. Yep. It just took one play, and this has completely snowballed the other way. And now Coach Alexander and Woodberry Forest have got to figure something out in order to keep his kids' heads in this one. Don't allow themselves to get down too much, despite the fact that they have given up 14 points now in the first 5.5 minutes of the second half. An unbelievable turn.
Now Duncan Trow goes for the onside kick, and actually Episcopal touched it early, so it would have been Woodberry's ball. But now you talk about momentum. You're giving the ball to Woodberry on your own 50, inside their own 50.
I like it. You have the momentum, so you go for a call like that. You don't want to kick it too far downfield anyway. So what you're essentially saying is, if we run our usual strategy, we're going to give them the ball back probably around the 35-yard line. So if we kick this and they recover it at the 50, it's essentially the difference in a first down, is essentially what it is. I don't mind the call there. In fact, I think if there was ever a time when you've scored 14 straight points to start the second half, why not?
So they're going to go ahead and say this is a re-kick here.
That's unbelievable.
They
caught him offside.
They did, but what I'm saying is the fact that, again, I was remiss. I always thought that there was an option on this play.
So
obviously not.
Yeah.
Because that's a killer if you're Woodberry Forest, just because they were offsides. Instead of getting the ball where you do, now you're going to, like you said, probably get it back in your own side, your own 30.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't tell you more about that, Jeremy. I assume now they're going to go ahead and go to that squib kick that they used on their first kickoff of the second half. Again, trying to keep the ball out of Tyrell's hands. Don't give him the opportunity to make the big play in the return game, but I doubt you see another onside kick.
Again, Phillips will kick off, so Trow leaves the field, and Phillips to do the kicking. Another high kick aiming for the sidelines, and again it'll go out of bounds. So the ball will go to the 35, and Woodberry wants it there. You have to see. Maybe they make him kick it again.
I mean, we're seeing an awful lot of these. Woodberry saying, look, you're going to have to kick it to our guy. We'll stay here all day if you want. You're going to have to kick it to our guy that's capable of making big plays in the return game. It's almost becoming a game of chess at this point. Who flinches first, or a game of chicken, if you will. Who flinches first? Who's the first one to say, can Woodberry convince Episcopal to say, you know what, we're just going to have to kick it towards Tyrell and see what happens? Or eventually, if you keep forcing them back 5 yards,
Here's the replay again, and again, not even close. You almost wonder, we see Tyrell inching his way up.
Yeah.
So maybe, and I think I saw him conferencing a couple seconds ago with Lionel Johnson basically saying, hey, let it go through if it's going to get through to me.
Yeah, give me the opportunity to get my hands on the ball, no doubt, and we'll see what the strategy is once again, backed up.
And now we've switched kickers again as Trow will now kick off.
Well, now they're going to try to bomb one, and I guess trust their coverage. This has been sort of a weird storyline here in the second half, how they've handled the kickoff.
6:27 left to go in the third quarter. Episcopal leads Woodberry 14-10 after 2 quick touchdowns to open the half. Trow's kick, a high kick and bounce, can be taken by Davenport around his own 20-yard line. Looking to get back into the wall. Nothing there. Going to try and cut it back. A flag goes down. And again, this is going to go Episcopal's way if it's a Woodberry Forest penalty. It looked like they'd get great field position. Now they may start inside their own 10.
After all of that, Woodberry Forest is in a situation where they would have been better off just taking the ball at the 35-yard line. They had the opportunity. And instead, Episcopal, given everything that just went down, will be able to extend their momentum and force them back at the 10-yard line. See here on the replay.
Try to get back into where the wall was built up.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get there.
There just wasn't anything there. Then you really do leave your blockers in a vulnerable situation to commit a block in the back type of penalty.
So Woodberry will scrimmage just outside their own 10-yard line, trailing by 4 points. Plenty of time left to go in the matchup. Zayton rolling to his right, looking out in the flat. This one's going to be caught. King is going to go ahead and be knocked out of bounds just outside the 15-yard line.
Rodney Mitchell, the first to make contact over along the far sideline, but that's a good patient play. Now Woodberry Forest, they were able to succeed throwing short passes in the first half. It looks like they're going to do more of that now in the second half.
Excuse me, that was Humphreys on the completion. Give him a gain of 6.
Also helping out over there was Timmy Phillips with Rodney Mitchell and getting him out of bounds.
Zayton looking to throw. This time he does hit King, and King will get it across the 20-yard line, maybe just short of the first down. It'll be close.
It looks like it was Sutherland who scored the touchdown just a moment ago for Episcopal on the tackle there. The short passing game, very crisp again for Zayton and Woodberry Forest to start the second half. Don't know why you go away from it.
That will be first down yardage. Zayton against that 4-man rush, looking down the field, looking for King. Incomplete, just goes over his head. Sutherland on the coverage.
Sutherland ended up tackling King on the play, but I guess the contact didn't come until the ball was there. It's no different if you see again on the replay.
Coverage by Mitchell.
No, the ball was there. That's a good play. That's a very good play, in fact, by Sutherland. He wasn't in great position in coverage, but to close like that when the ball got there, that's a tremendous job.
Sutherland, one of 2 Canadians in that Episcopal defensive backfield. Patrice Rene, also from Canada. Both guys looking for some big-time college offers. Zayton looking over the middle. He'll throw. This one's batted up in the air, almost picked off. 2 guys for Episcopal had a shot at it.
Both Campbell and as well Blair May had an opportunity. The ball almost went through Campbell's hands, and we'll see it here on the replay. Campbell was the first one to have a chance. Blair May stayed with it and knocked the ball in the air. See Campbell, boy, right over his hands. Blair May waiting there, and then off the deflection, who knows, there could have been a third guy who could have had a shot at an interception there, and what a dagger that would have been. Instead sets up a 3rd and 10 for Woodberry Forest.
So Minor joining Zayton in the backfield. 2 receivers each way. A lot of pressure. Zayton looking to set up a quick wide receiver screen. Gets it to Thomas. Flag goes down. He's going to be brought down short of the first down. And if that's on Woodberry Forest, that should end the drive.
You assume it's a hold given where it was thrown. Can't imagine what else it would have been. Timmy Phillips was in the backfield there and held up.
Going to be a legal man downfield.
There you go. Phillips actually held up. He had an opportunity to pursue a sack on that play. You'll see it here on the replay. As Phillips got through, and then it was more, it seemed like he was worried that if he went in any further, Zayton would be able to run the ball. Instead, he holds up. He forces Zayton to throw it. And now Woodberry Forest is in a situation, I guess they're going to
They'll decline the penalty.
I was going to say, I didn't know why they would have replayed 3rd down. Instead, you're going to force Woodberry Forest to punt and give Episcopal an opportunity to extend their lead.
Ball marked just outside the 29-yard line. So even though a fake was possibly coming, they need 3 yards for it. Dixon goes back deep, hedge the punt. It's going to be a fake, and it's not going to get there as they go and try and let Sherrill do it, and he is brought down, I believe, Phillips with another big play.
You called it, Jeremy, and that's a really rough spot to run that play. I understand it's a 4th and 3, so I understand the call. If you're going to do it, why not do it there? But the answer is because you run the risk of giving Episcopal the ball back at the 26-yard line, already having completely seized momentum in the second half, and now have an opportunity to give themselves a 2-possession lead.
Hand off to Smith, and Grady and a few others get back there to bring him down for a loss.
No doubt. He looked fine on that play, did Grady, as he was right in there. And Woodberry Forest, this is almost a must-hold type of situation. You're approaching the end of the 3rd quarter. See Grady with a nice play on the replay. You're approaching the end of the 3rd quarter. You really have to keep Episcopal out of the end zone here.
Coming up on 5 minutes to go in the 3rd. As Episcopal looks to tack onto their 4-point lead. Aguinobi looking. Now he's going to go ahead and pull it down. Look to run. He's going to be brought down as he ran out of space. Logie Portugal comes up from his corner spot to bring him down.
Somebody's got to talk to him about throwing that ball away. As soon as it's not there, you can't leave yourself that vulnerable. He could tell there was no room to run. He was just waiting and waiting and waiting, hoping something would come. You got to make a decision. See, as he's completely stood up, nothing going. He wanted to run to the sideline. Somebody's got to tell him, if you're behind the line of scrimmage, just chuck the ball out of bounds, live to play another day.
So 3 wide receivers to one side, 1 to the other. That's Renee, the big play cornerback. Smith is the back flanking in the shotgun. Aguinobi looks over that 4-man front for Woodberry Forest. Some pressure coming. He's going to look to step up. Can he get to the outside? Aguinobi will be hit and brought down or just across the 25-yard line. He'll set up a 4th and long.
And you know what, though? By getting the 5 yards they got there, they put themselves in a manageable position here on 4th down. You assume that from the 25 you're going for it now. So they give themselves a manageable, convertible 4th down situation just by getting those 5 yards. It doesn't look like a lot, but that's a big situation and probably changes the strategy. If they're back at the 30, 32-yard line, they might decide to punt the ball here as they did in the first half.
So 4th and 8 they'll call it. Need to take it inside the 20, down around the 18 for a 1st down. Aguinobi, the lone person in the backfield. He's got 5 wide receivers. Pressure coming, throws it. Phillips makes the catch. Phillips is going to have the 1st down yardage down near the 10-yard line.
It's that why those 5 yards were so big. They gave yourself a chance on 4th down to convert, keep the drive alive, and they are absolutely putting the hammer down right now on Woodberry Forest, and an opportunity from the 12-yard line.
Phillips already has the touchdown catch, a big catch on 4th down there. Gets it inside the 10. That's Smith after a gain of around 5.
Hard to not be impressed by Aguinobi here in the second half. I mean, he has really come alive going back to that final drive of the first half. He has really come alive. He has made good decisions. He's been effective.
Handoff Smith again up the middle, across the 5-yard line, very close to the sticks once again. And they talked about that big offensive line for Episcopal wearing down the smaller Woodberry front. That could be happening right now.
No doubt about it. And the legs, you would think, given how up-tempo they are, you would think you'd be dealing with tired legs. They have appeared fresh.
Now a little bit of confusion on the personnel. Don't know if they have enough players out there.
It's 3rd and 1. I think this is 4-down territory here, again for Episcopal.
Again, the power eye. They'll hand off to Smith, looking to run to his right. He's undercut. He'll be stopped short of the goal line, but he's going to have the 1st down.
And now 4 plays to try to get into the end zone once again. Woodberry Forest, these kids need something. They just need something to get the momentum to stifle it a bit.
Now Aguinobi under center. They're thinking sneak. Now the play is blown dead. Harden Lucas a little bit of pop on Smith for his troubles, and they're going to call an illegal shift on Episcopal.
That alone could be the type of play that changes things for Woodberry Forest. They just need something to go their way. That forces them back a little bit. Now they're going to have to be a bit more creative in their play calling. Woodberry Forest with an opportunity. Just need to keep him out of the end zone.
And that's one of the things you have to wonder, the high-tempo pace, a lot of guys coming in and out. You wonder if you're Episcopal, you kind of just don't slow things down, and you go under center and easily do what you're going to do.
It did seem like they ran that play particularly quick. Even for an up-tempo offense, that play seemed to be run particularly quickly.
Phillips is going to line up as a wing, a little different formation than we've seen all game. Aguinobi going to keep, throws it out to Phillips. He's going to go forward and in for the score, and Episcopal now with a 2-score lead.
And the wide receiver blocking once again on that play to get Phillips free, going to the right. And just an unthinkable change in the 3rd quarter here. I almost can't believe we're watching the same game that we were talking about at halftime.
Well, that door was open just a crack by the Tyrell fumble, and basically Episcopal has kicked it in ever since.
They've won one play, Woodberry Forest has, where someone besides Zayton was under center.
Trowell for the extra point. That one is up, and it is good. So now our score, 21-10, 21 unanswered points, all in the second half for Episcopal to take an 11-point lead.
They've run one play, and that one play has changed the scope of this game entirely. Completely changed everything about this game. The fumble turns into the first Episcopal touchdown, and then from there it is just snowballed. You see the replay here of the 3rd Episcopal touchdown. That's good blocking over in the corner. to allow him to get in. It was Chase who laid the block that sprung Phillips free. 21-10 now with 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. And Jeremy, you see a lot of things in sports and in watching football. You see a lot of games turn. I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned by where we are now compared to where we were 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago in game time, this looked to be the type of game that Woodberry Forest could perhaps run away with in the second half. Now they have to get something going offensively just to get back into the game.
Yep.
If I'm a Pano Vulgaris, I've got to be thinking to myself, this might be the best quarter I've seen from my team. We've seen they're a team that's capable of scoring as the game goes on. Boy, they are really proving that here in quarter number 3.
Of course, the Maroon looking to break a 6-game losing streak in this series. They're looking like they have a good chance to do it. Tyrell's going to get the ball inside his 10, looking for some space. Tyrell, open field again. Can he do it again? Can he do it again? He is going to do it again. Nathaniel Tyrell takes it to the house.
And there you go. And there you go.
No penalty flag on the field.
There is an injured player, however, and this could have certainly helped. It's Campbell Jackson who's able to get up, fortunately, for Episcopal. I mean, I don't know. I'm laughing because I'm struggling to figure out what to say about this. Again, every time we thought a team was buried,
yes,
you thought that Episcopal was buried at halftime. One play later, it's a brand new ball game. You thought maybe when Episcopal takes a 21-10 lead, that could have buried Woodberry Forest. I guess they marked them out. Now, there's some sort of discussion among the officials.
Maybe a personal foul. Let's wait for the
they haven't put
signal.
the points up on the board just yet, although the kicking team's out there. That touchdown's going to stand.
Now they'll talk about it. And so that even may, if they enforce it on the kickoff, if it's against Episcopal. Let's see what the referee says. They'll say personal foul. They say the play is good, so it must have come in the pursuit of Tyrell because he was so far in front. I don't think anybody gave him a cheap shot in the end zone.
Would have been hard to do that.
One of the blockers behind the play. But that even opens up, if you're Woodberry, maybe a shot at their own surprise onside because they'll have good field position to do it. Either way, here's the extra point. It is up and again put through as Hedge cuts it back down to a 4-point lead. And I tell you, if it weren't for Nathaniel Tyrell, this would be a completely different ball game.
He's been the story of the game, no doubt. Now 2 touchdowns and an interception on the game, but also a fumble, a pass interference call. It's almost right now Tyrell versus the world, if you would. I mean, it really has been his game for Woodberry Forest, as you just see here. This is why the kick strategy for Episcopal has been, whatever you do, don't kick the ball to Tyrell, because you're worried about exactly that. Because other than kicking the ball to Tyrell, if you take away the 2 Tyrell kick returns, this is a 21-3 game. I mean, this is the story for Woodberry Forest. And so Episcopal, as they were going through all their tricky strategies, that's what they were trying to avoid. They get an 11-point lead. They move up 21-10, and they say, okay, we've got a bit of a comfortable lead. Maybe now's the time that we can go back to kicking towards Tyrell and allow our special teams players to go down and try to make a play. Instead, they put themselves in a massive hole, and now, as you mentioned, Woodberry Forest kicking off from the 45, you absolutely have to think about an onside kick in this situation because it's going to be very unlikely that you would give them the ball, anywhere but the 20 otherwise. If they recover an onside kick at the 35, that's a difference in 15 yards, probably worth the risk to try to kick an onside kick right here.
Be interesting what Coach Clint Alexander, coaching from the box, decides to go with here. Does he have confidence in his defense just to pin him back, or maybe a high kick by Hedge to try and pin him inside the 20-yard line, or possibly the onside in play as well? 1:50 to go in the third quarter, still plenty of time. Hedge's approach. He's going to go ahead and just boot it through the end zone, and the Maroon will start at their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, and I don't know about that. I mean, it's a 25-yard change by doing that. With that being the strategy, you give them 25 yards. I know that 15 yards matter. I mean, that's a big difference, 15 yards, but not so big that I don't think it wouldn't have been worth it. As you see the replay, yeah, I don't think that was a missed kick. I just think that was the strategy on the play. It's an interesting strategy. Now you just kind of go play defense.
Flynn Alexander trusts his defense, obviously showing it there, as his defense will have a chance to get good field position for the offense.
This is fun. I mean, this atmosphere, this dramatic quarter, this is fun.
Aguinobi, nothing there. He's going to look to go ahead and scramble. And he's going to be brought down by Kim, hued by Hunter Young, also by Mendocino, and a big play by the Tiger D.
No, I mean, this is, again, momentum, drastic change, and all of a sudden, Woodberry Forest playing with it. They get after Aguinobi, and it's now Episcopal who's got to settle things down a bit. They don't want to give everything they worked for to take the 21-10 lead. They don't want to give it back this quickly.
Jalen Madden into the game now as a defensive back, brought down in the backfield. Lionel Johnson with the tackle of Smith.
And that sets up a 3rd and long for Episcopal. As you see here on the replay, just nothing doing up the middle on the run play. It'd be interesting to see if they take a shot downfield with Aguinobi, or if they tell him, just take what they'll give you, and we'll set up a punt.
Lindemann, the tight end's going to come out. Renee, the big play guy, he'll go in as a wide receiver. So a lot of speed out on the field for Episcopal. They may look to go deep, throwing it over the middle. Chase is going to make the catch. He's going to be hit and knocked down a yard short of the 1st down.
He's trying to say he extended the ball out towards the 30-yard line. Now you're in another spot. You're 4th and short. It looks as though you're going to be able to go to the end of the 3rd quarter before you have to make this decision. But 4th and short, it's a true yard that they're marking him short by. So yeah, the decision's going to be easy. It's a true yard. It's going to be a punt time. But that punt, I assume, will come on the first play of the 4th quarter.
Well, they'd be kicking with the wind right now if they go ahead and let Phillips boot it. Tyrell's going to go all the way back, and Roderick is going to come up, and they're going to go ahead and fake it. And Phillips up the middle is going to have the 1st down.
Gutsy call, effective.
And that's going to bring us to the end of the quarter with Episcopal getting some momentum back as they lead 21-17. Let's get it down to our Monica Moore on the sidelines.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, while Woodberry Forest defense has been out on the field, Nathaniel Tyrell has been on the sideline getting treated for a cramp in his right leg. They've been giving him some Gatorade. He's been doing some stretches. He seems to be fine. It doesn't look like there's very much that will slow him down today.
Thank you, Monica. And obviously, if you're Nathaniel Tyrell, it'd be terrible to lose him with a cramp that he's been dealing with, as he's really been kind of carrying. It's really interesting, Glenn. You look on either side of things for Woodberry Forest. It's been Tyrell, the senior, carrying things. On the other side has been Timmy Phillips, the senior, again with this big play on the fake punt.
Absolutely, and it's a variation. It's saying all we got to do is pick up a yard if we trust our blockers to go get it, and if you put Woodberry Forest in a situation where they're setting up a return instead of setting up a block. The best plays that have come in the return game. So if you catch them setting up a return instead of a block, what can come from that is a little bit softer up the middle. They found that. It's a gutsy call for Coach Valgueras and Episcopal. It pays off in a big way. Now they have a chance to work the clock. 12 minutes to play in this one. They're up by 4 points. If they could put points on the board on this drive, especially if they could finish off with a touchdown, it would go a long way into them pulling off an upset today here at Woodberry Forest.
Aguinobi looking for the quick screen to Phillips. Portugal's going to tackle him, and I think they're going to call holding on Woodberry Forest on that.
Yeah, there was a mess over there, and it looked like he was just trying to work his way through in order to be able to get towards the ball. I have to see on the replay exactly where the contact was made. Indeed, it was a hold.
Penalty on Woodberry Forest, defensive hold.
As you see on the replay, that's an interesting call. I don't know what Portugal's supposed to do there. There's two men. Well, he doesn't know which one's going to be the blocker and which one's going to be the receiver on that particular play. Look, the call's right. I mean, I'm not disputing the call whatsoever. It's absolutely a holding, but I don't know what you tell the kid to do in that situation when he's facing two men.
Woodberry moving their front a little bit. Smith going to take it, look to get to the outside. He's got some space. He's at the 40-yard line, cutting it to the outside. Smith brought down at the 30, but another big gain for Episcopal.
Finally, Lionel Johnson who gets them on the ground, but they're inside the 30-yard line, and they are marching once again. Just a really nice job going to the right. The hole opened up. That offensive line has been outstanding in the second half.
Momentum has swung so many times in this game, Glenn, and again it swings after that fake punt conversion. Handoff to Smith on the draw counter, trying to get to the outside. Gets a little bit of space, could have been a 3-yard loss, turns into a 3-yard gain.
Hunter Young will finish him off, and you're absolutely right. A play that was essentially blown up in the backfield, he just kept it alive, and because of that, he's able to pick up 3 yards or so.
Ball spotted at the 26-yard line. Need to take it inside the 20 for a first. Aguanobi back to throw. He's going to roll out, look for some space. Grady's chasing him, throws it over the middle, incomplete, broken up by Tyrell. He was looking for Chase again.
Dangerous throw going across body like that. Fortunately, he throws it towards the ground, as you see here on the replay. But in this situation, the last thing you want a receiver or a quarterback doing is coming across body. By the way, Chase took some contact. It wasn't called. There was some contact there. Sherrill was in coverage before the throw was made. Fortunate that he didn't pick up a flag. It sets up 3rd and 7.
The Woodberry student section trying to root their team onto a stop. Aguanobi hands off up the middle. Blair May going to be stopped after a gain of 2. Didn't get him on the draw, so that'll bring up a 4th down.
And you assume again that they'll go for it here on 4th and manageable. They just converted a 4th and manageable on their last drive. An opportunity for Woodberry Forest just to make that one play and change the course of this second half.
They'll go 4 wide receivers here. I see 3 wide and a tight end. Phillips will line up as the tight end. Blair May is the running back. Aguanobi in the shotgun. No hard count. Looking over the middle. Nothing there. He's going to pull it down. Look to get to the outside. Nothing there. He's going to look to throw it over the middle. This one is overthrown. Looking for Renee. So Woodberry gets the stop they were looking for. And Phillips jumping up and down saying, I was open.
And good job by Ryan Kim to keep that pursuit on. Not allow Aguanobi any space. He tried going to his right. You'll see here, once he shuffled, he tried going to his right, but it's Ryan Kim making the play, working against Joe Goff, who's able to force him back to his left. And once he was forced back to the left, he just had to let the ball go downfield.
And we saw in that Phillips ended up with a drag route, and he was wide open. That's why he was jumping up and down saying, get me the ball.
The result of the play, Woodberry Forest now with the ball, another opportunity to seize the lead.
Hand off to Minor, up the middle, looking for some space. Being dragged down by the shirt tail, but he gets 3 yards.
And a good job in pursuit there by multiple Episcopal defenders in order to prevent Minor from really being able to turn that one upfield.
Looked like Gooden got him by the shirt tail and able to kind of rodeo him down. 4-point lead for Episcopal. Woodberry with the ball, 9:50 and rolling here in the 4th quarter. Hand off to Minor. He's going to be brought down by Goff in the backfield.
A bit of a delay on that one, and there was nothing going. That's the type of play where perhaps Zayton's better off holding on to that ball and sliding forward to see what he can get going to his right.
So Minor will come off. Revere will come back on. Remember, Minor's been dealing with that ankle injury that kept him out of one game, only limited him to very few snaps in another last few games.
And a huge 3rd down here with just over 9 minutes to play.
Zayton in the gun. Episcopal trying for the rush. Zayton trying to buy some time, looking to go deep. He's going to throw it out into the flat for Shea and underthrows him.
Yeah, and he's throwing on the run there. That's a really difficult play to make. Flushed out, forced to put the ball in the air, not much going there. That's a disappointing possession for Woodberry Forest after getting the ball back on the turnover on downs. They're going to have to give it back to Episcopal, and their defense is going to have to come up with another stop here as we are getting to that point of the game where Episcopal will want to work the clock.
Hedge going to take the snap. No pressure by Episcopal. Dixon to return it. It's going to hit and go out of bounds around the 38-yard line, so that's where the Maroon will scrimmage from 1st and 10.
And again, clock is the story at this point. 3 timeouts. Not that you're in the situation yet where you want to use them with 9 minutes to play. You want to try to come up with a stop fairly quickly, get the ball back. But this is a chance for Episcopal to really, really work the clock. And if you're an Episcopal, part of the Episcopal coaching staff, Coach Valgaris and crew, they're saying if the clock's running, let a few more seconds run off. Not bleed it out.
Aguinobi hands off to Smith, hit in the backfield and brought down. That was Duke Sherrill with a great stick there.
But you see here, 8:56 as that play ends. You want to run some time. You want to be willing to take, you're an up-tempo offense that wants to slow it down a bit. And we'll see at what point, as you saw the replay, they run this next play. They're already under 8:40.
Sherrill comes off. He's going to be replaced by Johnson. We talk about the line for Episcopal, Glenn. All but one starter, that'd be the center, John Ober, is above 260 when it comes to tipping the scale, so a lot of beef up front. Aguinobi, quarterback keep, gets to the outside, going to lunge forward across the 40, give him a gain of around 5.
And another thing that he does there, he cuts back inside instead of going out of bounds and stopping the clock. You need to convert on third down for that to matter. If you give the ball right back to him, it won't matter at all. But if you can convert the third down, these are the types of plays that are significant in working the clock.
Looks like Stevenson got the leg there. Aguinobi trying to set the screen. Now the pump and go, looking for Chase, and that's going to be complete.
Wow.
He's at the 20-yard line. Can Tyrell catch him? He cannot. Touchdown Episcopal.
Wow. 4 defenders. And you see Aguinobi thought about it. He knew he had Phillips in the backfield. That was his outlet. If this isn't there, I'll just give it to Phillips and see what he can get. Instead, he lets it loose, no pressure. He had all the time in the world to come up with that throw, his finest throw of the day, and it's a 2-possession game once again in favor of Episcopal.
And by my count, that's 4 touchdown passes for the freshman Aguinobi.
Yeah, all 4 absolutely via the air.
Chase, the speedster, able to get past the Woodberry defense, got the step on Tyrell, and then he couldn't catch him. Trowell's kick is up, and that one is good. So we're back out to an 11-point spread as Episcopal looking to break their 6th-season losing streak to Woodberry Forest, and they have the lead to do it.
You get this feeling that the type of play that tends to bury a team, but every time we've said something like that today, one play has changed everything. Tyrell's going to go back to return the kick. You see the replay. He's got Phillips, but he had all the time in the world. He unloads, and just a tremendous throw. Tyrell, and you can imagine Tyrell being a bit exhausted. He was just a step behind as Chase broke free, and no hope of getting him before he was in the end zone.
Davis Cornett almost got a hand on it, but just couldn't, in a really well-designed play by Episcopal. It's supposed to be kind of a combo, look like quick screen and then a deep ball on it. And credit that big offensive line for holding up against the pass rush.
No doubt. Just not, Aguinobi not harassed whatsoever on that play. He had all the time in the world to allow the play to develop, to make a good decision, and to make a tremendous throw. As you mentioned, 4 second-half touchdown passes in a freshman playing in, only the biggest game he's ever played in.
That's the truth. So Trowell on the kickoff. We'll see if he kicks it deep again. Remember, Tyrell already with 2 return touchdowns, the only touchdowns of the game so far for Woodberry. Going to be a little pop pooch kick. That's going to be taken by an up man for Woodberry Forest, and will give them good field position.
That's a safe play by Claiborne. Just fall to the ground. Catch the ball, fall to the ground, take the possession, and good field position. Now you're probably in a spot. Trailing by 11, under 8 minutes to play. You're probably in a spot where this is a must-score possession and 4-down territory throughout if you're Woodberry Forest.
Interesting, Claiborne, that ball didn't, I don't believe, hit the ground first. If that's the case, he could have called fair catch on that. Did not, took the pounding, but still gets his team good field position at the 44. Zayton looking to throw, looking over the middle. That one's behind Roderick, had a step on the corner.
Yeah, that's a great route. The ball's just behind him, and he can't, that's an impossible adjustment to make. Somebody's going to say, well, hit him in the hand. It hit him in the backhand. I mean, there's no way that he can make that play. The throw just has to be on target there from Zayton. You can't let the nerves get to you in this spot. Just an unfortunate result on that play for Woodberry Forest. Sets up 2nd and 10.
Had the space on the standout corner. Patrice Rene just couldn't hit him. Zayton hands off to Revere. A flag's going to go down. I believe this is going to be a false start from the side judge. It will be.
We'll keep you updated on the time so there's no clock on your screen. 7:43 right now to play. They're going to be set up with a 1st and 15. 2nd and 15. Thank you, Jeremy. 2nd and 15 coming up. And again, the danger here is you put yourself in 4-down territory. You can't try to get 15 back on this play. You've got to set yourself up that if it goes to 4th down, it's a manageable 4th down situation.
Zayton's got 4 wides. Thomas all by his lonesome down low. Quick screen, gets it to King, looking for some space, cuts it back, almost had the opening, but it was slammed shut.
Yeah, among the players over there was Colin Dixon, and that's just the type of play where that's fine. That's fine. You take the 4 to 5 yards there, and you try to do it again. You just got to get yourself back into a 4th and manageable after putting yourself in a hole on 2nd and 15. Mason
Spence coming up from a safety spot there as well, and some fill-in duty as a nickel back. Really may have saved a huge gain. Zayton over the middle. That one's going to be complete. Roderick stretches forward, has 1st down yardage out to the 45.
Absolutely threw Mason Spence off of him there. Should have been stopped a yard or 2 short of the 1st down, but a great job of throwing Spence off of him and plowing ahead in order to get the 1st down and avoid a 4th down situation.
1st down, Woodberry
Clock
Forest.
stops as they move the chains. 7:04 left to go. Still plenty of time for Woodberry Forest, but need a score on this possession. Zayton in the shotguns. Got 2 receivers each way. He's going to keep it. Up the middle, he's going to be hit and brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
Staggered by the hit. In on that play, Timmy Phillips as well as Jalen Bird. He just fell backwards for maybe a pickup of a yard. Now looks like it's going to be no gain on that play.
Maybe even a little bit of a loss. As the ball just nose of the ball just off the 45-yard line. Getting close to 6.5 minutes to go here in the regulation. Woodberry trailing by 11. Zayton going to roll to his right, looking to throw. That one's going to be complete. Ingram pushes forward, will be knocked out of bounds just across the 30-yard line. Actually give him all the way down to the 26.
Got rid of it just in the nick of the time. He had no idea Colin Dixon was barreling around from his blind side. If he holds on to that ball a split second sooner, he is going to hit the dirt, as you see here on the replay. Dixon pursuing from behind. No way he knew it was coming. He took the lick, but he got the ball out just in time, and a big pickup, Campbell in there to help get him out of bounds.
Zayton to throw, looking deep. He's got a man open. It's going to be incomplete. Shea had a step and just couldn't hook up.
Couldn't find the ball. He thought it was going back towards the middle of the field. It was actually going to his back shoulder. He just could not identify where the ball was. He absolutely had a beat on that play and an opportunity for what would have been a huge, huge touchdown for Woodberry Forest. You see on the replay, he's there waiting for it. He just thought the ball was going one way. As it turns out, the ball was going the other way.
2nd and 10, need to get the ball down to the 19 for a 1st down. Zayton calling out the play to his wide receivers. Probably a check at the line of scrimmage. Thomas, the speedster, down low at the bottom of your screen. Minor, the back in the backfield. Ingram goes in motion, fake to him. Zayton looking deep again, this time going for Roderick. This one almost intercepted as Renee came up late.
Yeah, Renee did a great job of at least breaking that one up. You're right, he had the hand on the ball that he could have made the pick, although there was a mess of players back there. For a split second, there was a look for Roderick. You'll see it here on the replay. For just a second, he was all alone. Renee in there as well as Jonathan Sutherland to prevent that from being a touchdown.
And Roderick's going to go down, got all the way over to the sideline again, went down, and maybe the Woodberry coaches, he gets up pretty quickly. Maybe the Woodberry coaches want a little extra time to think about something.
Fall down, don't force us to take a timeout. And we don't know that's what happened, but...
Well, that's when you always tell the kids, if you're hurt, you need to stay there. We need to make sure we get the substitution.
Absolutely. Stay down, prevent us from having to take... These timeouts are so critical right now for Woodberry Forest. If they're able to score in this spot, either way, even if they're able to get the field goal, they make it a one-possession game. They have that opportunity to extend the game at that point. The timeouts will become critical moving forward.
We'll see if they're thinking that way. They need a few more yards to give Hedge a good shot at a field goal as long as 40 on the season. Maybe that's what they're thinking, but they end up the middle. Revere is going to take it down near the 20-yard line, but he's going to be about 3 yards short.
Boy, this is a really tough spot. It would be roughly a 40-yard kick from there. We saw him make from this type of distance before the game, but I don't know that you want to put your kicker in that spot. It looks like they're keeping the offense on the field.
Again, some substitutions. They put the big man out there, number 75, on the other side. Jack Bates goes about 6'8". Looking for a little push and make it tough on Zayton. Zayton looking to throw, scrambles away. Can he find someone down the middle of the field? Thomas makes the catch.
Oh! And that That could be the game right there. Oh, that's rough, and that's 2 drops now today for Khalid Thomas. I mean, he had a great look. Zayton lets it go. Thomas, that's nothing but a drop. And
that's the thing. Thomas, a kid who came up, was the JV quarterback and had a great game, the game we did before against Benedictine, but a lot of it was on wide receiver runs, this time having to make a few more catches and not doing it today. Handoff Smith, off right tackle. He'll be stacked up and eventually is still moving forward. No whistle blows. He's still on his feet, and they're going to go give him a gain of 2 yards when it looked like he was going to lose 2.
Not using the timeouts just yet, Woodberry Forest. As we approach 5 minutes to play, they're going to have to think about it pretty soon. Although in a 2-possession game,
he was originally contacting that play, Glenn, back at the 20-yard line.
Just no whistle. Forward. No whistle. And assuming the Woodberry Forest players thought there would be a whistle, let up a bit. 2nd and 8 instead.
Looking to move the chains, that power I formation. Hand off to Smith, trying to bounce to the outside. He's going to stay on his feet after a few missed tackles and get out past the 40-yard line for a first down.
And now Woodberry Forest really has to start thinking about the timeouts. 4:35 to play in the 4th quarter. A first down for Episcopal up at the 42. And you just see that's just a great run. That's tucking it under, keeping your head down, Eric Smith, and just moving forward. That's a tremendous, tremendous run.
So 1st and 10 here for Episcopal as they look to take their time and eat some more clock. Hand off to Smith, trying to bounce to the outside. It's going to be taken down by Lucas in the backfield for a loss of 4.
Good job on the pursuit there as he went to the right. We're approaching the 4-minute mark, still not taking the timeouts. You're getting into a situation where even if you come up with a stop here, there would be less than 3 minutes on the clock by the time that Episcopal would punt. 3 minutes in a 2-possession game, you would hold on to all 3 timeouts.
Of course, in high school, just like in college, the clock stops on first down, so a way to kind of quickly score without giving up a lot of time. Now 2nd and 14, we'll call it. And looking to throw out in the flat, and Sutherland's going to make the catch. Stays on his feet. He's going to get up to the 50-yard line, so what looked like could be a sack or an incompletion turns into a gain of about 10 yards.
And Stevenson as well as Young in on the tackle. That's a big tackle. It brings up 3rd and short, but 3rd and short still better than picking up the first down.
So are they going to say that that was actually, was his knee down?
Oh.
They mark it all the way back.
You're right.
See another replay on that. As we originally brought it back, maybe when he thought he stayed on his feet, he ended up being able to went down to his knee instead.
Well, that's huge. That's massive for Woodberry Forest.
Instead, replay again.
Instead of 3rd and short. Oh yeah, indeed. Right there.
His knee goes down. Shows the agility of Sutherland to fake that one off. Staying on the ground. Aguanobi, he's going to have first down yardage, and it will go down across the 40-yard line, and when Woodberry needed to stop, they cannot get it.
That will probably about do it. 2:39 to play. And just a heck of a run by Aguanobi. Is he going to his right? Space develops. He didn't slide, which was interesting, and boy, that could have been a face mask call there on Michael Davenport. Instead, 1st and 10 from the 38. Clock running, and no matter what happens here, Woodberry Forest will have to take the timeouts to give themselves one final chance.
2:20 and rolling, hand off to Smith, off left tackle, bangs for a gain of around 5 on the play.
Carried by Smith, tackle by Cornett.
Smashing forward, and we talked about that size differential really across except for the center position as we see the replay to Smith. Everybody, it's 260 and up. Just looking at it, Glenn Bates, the tackle, goes 275. Campbell goes 275, the left guard. Goff, the right guard, 266. Myler, the right tackle, 285. So a lot of beef up front.
They have worn them down as the second half has gone on. It's not the story of what's happened in half number 2, but it's the story of when they took the lead, why they've been able to essentially put it away.
Aguanobi with the boot. Looking for Phillips. He's got him inside the 10-yard line. He's going to stay on his feet and get in for the score. Third touchdown of the game for Phillips, and that will do it.
And that's the 5th passing touchdown of the second half. Oh, a penalty.
Penalty on the play.
On the play.
Well, they will bring it down. Good eyes by you, Glenn. Still going to be a game to remember for those guys at Episcopal.
Remarkable, remarkable turnaround in the second half. Again, the story isn't how they've run the ball. The story is the couple of plays that really turned this game around at the start of the second half, and the fact that they did not allow themselves to stay down after allowing that punt return touchdown at the end of the first half. It is a remarkable, remarkable turnaround here in half number 2 as you see the Episcopal students begin to work their way down to the gate. You assume that when this one ends, they're going to head towards the field to celebrate with their...
I think they get Glenn, on that middle man downfield. You saw that play took a little bit longer, and he just kind of was, that offensive line.
Didn't know where to go.
Where's the ball? Why hasn't it come out yet?
I can only stand here for so long, guys.
2nd and 10. Smith be stopped after a gain of 2.
Smith on the carry.
And Woodberry going to...
I don't understand why Woodberry is not taking a timeout. I mean, look, even if you take the timeouts, you're not really giving yourself much of a chance to win, but you have 0 chance to win if you don't take the timeouts. I do not understand.
Possible we may have missed a few.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't think
the clock didn't stop.
Yeah. 3rd and 8. Aguanobi taking his sweet time. He's going to look to run to the left. And he'll be hit and knocked down at the 30-yard line.
Set up 4th and short.
And looks like Woodberry not going to take the timeout.
Content.
As we see the linesman actually was looking over to the Woodberry bench to make sure he took it if they wanted to take it.
I guess accepting their fate. I don't understand the strategy. It's something that will be questioned by Coach Alexander. He had 3 timeouts at the end of the game and just didn't take them. And no matter what happens here on the 4th down, it's not going to matter.
Aguanobi will take the knee here. We'll give the ball back over, so Woodberry will get it with 12.3 seconds remaining.
I can't fathom why you wouldn't use your timeouts. I mean, look, down 2 possessions and a minute to play, the game's, it's almost impossible.
It's interesting.
But almost impossible is a little bit better than completely impossible. Either way, just the unbelievable second half for Episcopal, how they managed to turn this game around. If you had told me at halftime, when you and I were talking about a team that could have been buried, that they were going to come away with 28 second half points, I probably would have laughed at you at that point.
Well, Woodberry going to try and figure out a way to score here. They'll hand it off to Minor up the middle on the draw. He's going to have 1st down yardage. He'll cut it back and be brought down just short of the 45-yard line. That'll stop the clock, and when they go ahead and restart it, if Woodberry doesn't take a timeout, that should do it.
Indeed it will, as they congratulate each other at midfield. An incredible, incredible victory for Episcopal.
And that will do it. Episcopal ends their 6-game losing streak in the game in the 114th playing as they knock off Woodberry Forest 28-17, as they are extremely happy right now, and actually they've kept the fans back probably for a good thing, so the players can go ahead and get through the line and kind of give each other high five and tell each other good game. And a tough way for things to end for Woodberry Forest. Had a chance at the unbeaten season, but again, they played a very good up-and-coming Episcopal team today.
A game they certainly had control of at halftime, and everything changes on the first play of the second half, the first offensive play in the second half, when Tyrell went into the Wildcat and fumbled the ball on that run. 1 play later, Episcopal finally gets on the board with a touchdown pass, and the ball just kept on rolling for the Maroon in the second half as they scored 28 second half points to come away with the victory today. An improbable victory, no doubt.
Yeah, just kind of getting the way they did, and like I said, you could all point back, and we were talking about the whole halftime show. We really talked about the punt return by Tyrell, really just kind of blowing things open, it seemed like. and then it ended up turning into, and they may have a not very good scene here as like student bodies are coming together, and hopefully someone's out there to maybe slow this down.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing. It just appears to be a gathering right now.
Hopefully that's all it is.
Yeah, I think at first what you saw is the Episcopal students come out to celebrate. The Woodberry Forest students understandably don't enjoy seeing other teams celebrate on their field. You understand that, but there's no need to try to use force or anything along those lines. The Episcopal won the game, and it's certainly tough for Woodberry Forest and for their fans, for their alums to stomach that. The nature of this rivalry, you hate seeing it, but you understand the emotions for the Episcopal fans, not just winning the game, but winning it in the dramatic way that they did, in an unbelievable turnaround fashion. You can certainly understand their decision to celebrate that. So fortunately, didn't end up being ugly there after the game. Instead, Episcopal will continue to celebrate, and the Woodberry Forest students and fans and the players on this team can keep their heads high. Yes, a difficult rivalry loss today, but still a very, very good season. Prep League champions, 7-1 final record. A lot of good for Woodberry Forest.
And they talk about making good young men down here, and you got to credit, I think Christian Zayton and a couple other of the Woodberry Forest guys went into the huddle over there, I think, to make sure that none of their classmates did anything bad. Hey, let's calm down. It's a football game. Let's come on over here.
Keep our emotions in check, and you see Coach Alexander gathering his guys around, and this is a teaching opportunity for him. And these are young men, and a lot of these guys will have more chances to face Episcopal. It's difficult for the seniors to stomach in particular because you hate losing your last game in this series. But this is a great opportunity for Coach Alexander to teach these young men, look, not everything will always go your way in your life. You will be dealt with setbacks. It's not the setbacks that will define you. It'll be how you handle those setbacks that define you. And this is a great teaching moment as you see the guys' heads hanging down, disappointment throughout this team, but Coach Alexander rallying them up here. And what a job he's done here at Woodberry Forest.
Now here's our highlights, and these are second half highlights. Nathaniel Tyrell got his team back into the game after they went down by 11 points the first time, took it back, his second return touchdown of the game. Remember his other score, the punt return at the end of the first half with no time remaining, the only touchdowns of the game coming from their return man.
Absolutely, but it wasn't meant to be as Episcopal got right back to work following this. They ended up converting, we'll see here shortly, this fake punt. And this was sort of the final nail in the coffin. I mean, this was still in the third quarter, but that
all the
was
momentum changed again
absolutely.
right there.
After seizing momentum back Woodberry Forest, they never were able to sustain it, and Episcopal ends up putting together a nice drive, adding on a fourth touchdown.
We saw Smith, who really struggled a bit in the first half, really get it going in the second half as things wore on. And then you see Aguinobi trying to keep a play alive here. Eventually would throw one down the middle of the field. That one incomplete. Looked like Woodberry had a chance again there. 4-point lead. That was a turnover on downs. But again, couldn't get things moving. And then this big play here, that fake screen, and then Chase, the speedster, goes deep.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, after that turnover on downs, it was a quick 3-and-out for Woodberry Forest. When they got the ball back, trailing by 4, they had an opportunity right then and there to get back in the game, 3-and-out. And by the time they got the ball again, they were down by 11.
Now Woodberry still had a chance to go ahead and get back into it. This nice pass here as they would go ahead and find Ingram for first down yardage to keep the drive alive, and actually would press forward there, get a few more yards after the catch. Good show of sportsmanship there by Ingram. But then they would look to go ahead and get this, I believe, on fourth down and see if they could.
No, and just wasn't meant to be. This was a drop here from Day, and it just that young man is going to be thinking about that for a long time. He's got a lot ahead of him.
Yep, just a freshman, Khalid Thomas, and bright future.
And he's a talented kid, and it's a shame that that's what people are going to be talking about, and that's what his friends, his teammates will remind him about was at the end of the game. That play didn't determine the game. This was a game that slowly was determined at the beginning of the second half. That play didn't determine it. But that was their best opportunity at the end of the game to try to get back in it, and just a drop, a clean drop there near the goal line. And ultimately, Episcopal would essentially run out the clock on the ensuing possession.
You have to love the atmosphere at Woodberry after the game, with the parents and student body and others going around. Coach Alexander and the team had a nice show of solidarity there, listening to what he has to say as he talks to his team, probably as a team, at least in their pads for the last time.
And largely in part to continue to lift up these kids, that they won't, this group of family, friends, alumni, they want this team, the players on this team, to know it's just a game. It's not, we still support you, we love you, we know how hard you worked, we know what you did all season, and this is just the result of a football game. That's all it is. And so we're going to gather around you, we're going to put our arms on your shoulders. You see the post-game prayer there. It's a remarkable, look, everything about this place is very special, and we've seen that the times that we've been down here, and so you're not at all surprised to see a special group of people rallying to lift up these kids as they are clearly disappointed after a heartbreaking loss.
And of course, flipping things over to Episcopal for just a second, really testament to them after losing 6 straight in this rivalry. You won't have to wonder if being battle-tested in the IAC really helped them in this matchup where some of the teams they see, the size, your Bullis's, your others, if that really kind of helped them as we went along and they stayed in it and then kind of wore Woodberry Forest down. That kind of gave them that extra edge.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm standing here with our player of the game, Seth Aguanobi, and Episcopal head coach Pano Valgueras. Seth, what a huge stage to be playing on today, a rivalry matchup. You played exceptionally well. Can you talk about what it was like out there on the field with this rivalry?
It was crazy. Woodberry is a great team, but our team, we've been training hard all summer. We've been really performing as a team, like fully together as one. It's been a great ride. It's been fun.
Your offense came out in the second half, particularly the third quarter, and you were on fire. What was clicking so well offensively?
Our receivers running great routes. I have to say it's all the receivers. They were finding open slots, and my job was pretty easy, just get the ball to them.
Well, as a freshman, I don't know if you had any nerves going into this game, but can you talk about what it was like leading your team in this game as a freshman?
It was very nerve-wracking, but I know that I had all my seniors, I had all the rest of the team there to back us up. So it was pretty fun. It was great.
Congratulations on a huge game today. Coach, I know you must be exceptionally proud. Your team came out, as I said, in the third quarter and was on fire. What did you say to them at halftime?
I said, we just have to go out there, play our game, okay? Because we stopped them with our defense the whole first half. And then a couple of mistakes led to that score at the end of the first half, and that was it right there. We know that they are a very good football team, but we got some kids here who are extremely motivated and work very, very hard, and we saw that today. I mean, the effort that Timmy Phillips, our captain, gave us on both sides of the ball, special teams, I mean, that's as good of an effort as I've seen in the last 3 years at Episcopal.
And can you talk about their perseverance just coming into that second half after going into the locker room at halftime being down, and what that says to you as a coach?
Well, you know, all season long we've had good second halves. And so I asked the kids, I said, is there any doubt in your mind about winning this football game at halftime? And they all said, not a doubt. And I said, let's go back out there. And that's why we were out here pretty much the whole halftime, because our kids were ready to play. They wanted to play right away. If that halftime could have been 2 minutes, I think our kids would have enjoyed that, because we were ready to play in the second half. And I think it showed right at the beginning of the third quarter. I mean, we've been hammering away all season long, you know, trying to we knew this wasn't going to happen right away in this game, but we knew that little by little we're going to have to take them down brick by brick.
And what are you most pleased with about your team season as a whole?
The unity, the team chemistry, the example that they set every single day in practice, in the games, around campus, in the community. We got some special kids. They're motivated in the classroom, and they're good community members, and that's the most meaningful thing.
Well, Coach, congratulations, a huge win today.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Monica, and a proud Pano Valgueras and his quarterback, Seth Aguanobi, 4 touchdowns today. Going to wrap this one up from Woodberry Forest. Look at all our production team helping us bring you this broadcast. Did such a good job today. Also thanks to Monica Moore and my partner, Glenn Clark. Again, your final score from Woodberry Forest. Episcopal takes the 114th playing of the game as they beat Woodberry 28-17. Good afternoon, everybody.